Let the bass kick.
You take a vitamins?
Vitamins and
Iron
herbs.
in my life. You got some iron pills?
No.
Darn.
Iron.
Supplements. I'm sorry, not pills. Supplements.
Pineapple.
Some of that FE, right?
That would
Periodic table.
Yeah.
Fe.
FE.
Come on, bro.
be Ferris.
Iron. Nice one.
What up, guys? Welcome back. What up?
Yo.
Welcome back to Last Cash. It's
Hello.
episode 18. I'm Will. Marcus.
Still here.
Who's
Yo,
that?
yo.
That's Jay.
We got Jay over there.
How you doing?
And joining us tonight, very special guest, our good friend, Justin Martineau.
Just give him a flash. Just flash him a little. Just real fast.
Just flash.
Get some
Just
golf
flash
swings.
him.
I don't think anybody wants to see that.
No, mass flash. Mass flash.
Ah, okay.
It's really him.
There you go.
It's really him.
That's what I meant.
promise. Yeah.
You gotta get your head out together, man.
Yeah, flash what? Flash what now? Let's be clear.
It's permanently stuck
Oh,
there.
I just thought everybody knew what the mass flash was.
Yeah.
Right.
You flash me your face when you go to the liquor store with your ID. Yet to happen.
Quick flash.
Nobody has wanted to see my face with my ID.
Yep.
They usually
If I was in high school or underage, I'd be having a field day right now.
right.
But yeah, some of you guys probably know Justin. Most of you guys probably know Justin from the Nashville Disc Golf Store. Most of the time you're there. This is also we just found out he's the podcast #1 fan. He plays
Yeah.
he plays the show at the store, and he has seen every episode. Thank you, Justin.
Absolutely.
That's huge, man. He's responsible for our entire view count.
Yeah. Our numbers maybe are inflated.
Yeah, yeah, I'm excited to talk to you and let the audience get to hear a little bit more about the ins and outs of what you deal with, being in managerial status at the Nashville Disc Golf Store. Yeah, let's start off with something easy. How long have you been playing?
Ooh, since 97.
97.
Whoa.
23 plus years.
Man.
And how did you come upon the sport?
College. With my friends from high school, middle school, high school, and college. We all just wanted something free to do besides wiffle ball and volleyball.
Whoa, wiffle ball. I'm going to hear about this.
Oh, man. Competitive wiffle ball is, it's pretty sick. Yeah, because we were all played baseball most of us played baseball growing up, and we weren't going to be doing that no more. So wiffle ball you can do in the backyard or at the local park, so we did that a lot. I
never played competitively, but that was always one of my favorite backyard games.
I was just informed that there was a competitive wiffle ball.
Oh, yeah.
How old were you when you learned that there was competitive professional wiffle ball?
35. I'm not ashamed to admit that.
I was just today year old.
Today years old.
Yes,
Today
I
years
just
old.
found out.
So
I have no clue.
you could have a little bit of background in sports just in general.
Yes.
And finding disc golf in college, I guess getting away from the competitive side, how did you get into the competitive side?
Disc golf, that was only 6 years ago, 2014. First time I signed up for the PGA and played my first tournament.
Wow.
Was late 2014. Wait till October, so you can get the
Yeah.
next year.
Yep. No, smoking like somebody who did a little research before you signed
Right.
up.
Well, my buddy signed up. He's one of my friends who I played with in college. I'm still friends with. He lives in Huntsville. He got back into the game. I stepped away from the game from 04 to 14, really.
Okay.
All my friends started having multiple kids, and instead of playing 2-3 times a week, we were playing once or twice a year. We still played, but it was on special occasions. So I didn't play with somebody I didn't know until 2014. I only played with my friends from the first 17 years I played. So a true casual player.
Yeah, that's a good run.
Although the first 7 years was an addicted casual player.
Sure. So you just got tired of beating your friends rear end, so you decided to
Oh,
step
no.
up?
I mean, we were terrible. I mean, I threw about 225 feet. So did they off the tee, and we were completely content because we were all equally terrible at the game.
Gotcha.
And didn't understand the whole world of everything else. We knew who Climo was and Corver just because of the discs. Never saw any of the DVDs they had out or nothing. Had no idea about the competitive world. Those guys were way, way different than us.
Sure.
We saw the guys with the big bags and everything. We're like, oh, those guys are crazy. Stay away from them. With us, our dinky little bag and our horrible throws. And if we ever if somebody ever let us play through, so nervous. It was crazy. Whenever you hear like a good shot, you're like, I can't believe I threw a good shot. But yeah, it took a while, and then my friend started getting back into it because he just had one kid, and he started playing again and told me how different the game all of a sudden was, how many more companies there were, the discs were different, and so I went out once. We started playing again with him, and then I went to Cedar Hill. I was just playing around at Cedar Hill because I bought a house in Inglewood. I didn't realize how close I was to all the disc golf courses. I mean, I didn't even know there was one in East Nashville. I had no idea.
Wow.
So I went and played Cedar Hill, and I hadn't played Cedar Hill since probably 2002 before then, because it was so overgrown and stuff then, and it's so hard that we were like, no, we're not playing Cedar Hill. That's way above us. We pretty much played Two Rivers and Seven Oaks. And Crockett one was a 9-hole course. And Barfield one was a 9-hole course.
Wow, I don't even know those courses as being 9 holes ever.
Right?
So
Most people don't.
Yeah, I don't. When I first started playing, I learned to play at Crockett, and it was definitely 18 holes by then.
Now, obviously, the 9-hole.
Pull that mic just a little bit closer to your face, buddy.
The 9-hole course at Barfield still exists. Obviously, it's all the ones with the horrible, horrible greens. Mm-hmm. That's the original 9.
Mm-hmm.
Crockett, the original 9, does not exist because they built that athletic center. And that's where kind of most of the original 9 was.
Okay.
The big indoor soccer complex. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and that's and where the parking lot and stuff is there. That's kind of the area that was in. So it's long gone. I can't even remember the layout because it's so different now.
Yeah. I love Crockett.
Yeah, it's one of those courses that are really fun.
It's too bad Brentwood is so uptight and we can't really have events there.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of new courses, and I don't mean to throw us off of you, Justin, but I just found out from a coworker, and because he lives out in Lebanon, but there's a 9-hole course by one of the colleges out there. I forget what the college is out there. Or in Lebanon. Excuse me, not Columbia. It's in Lebanon. There's a college there. What college is out that way?
College of Lebanon? I don't know.
Anybody? Well, anyway, apparently there is a 9-hole course in Lebanon, like that's not Cedars of Lebanon, right beside that college.
Interesting.
And I didn't know that. I just thought that was kind of interesting, and we happened to be on talking about courses, and so I was curious if any of you guys had heard that or knew that.
I haven't heard.
I did not.
It's a public course?
Apparently. I mean, I would assume it may be at that college. Maybe put it in. Maybe it's
Cumberland University.
Cumberland. Okay.
Let me see here.
Surprised I hadn't heard about it yet.
Yeah, I didn't know there was a college in Lebanon.
They just sneak up on you out here.
Well, we had the Stevens Valley kind of sneak up on us too. Like I had no idea it was there.
What's that one?
The one over in Bellevue.
Oh yeah, the hidden one. Yeah.
There's nothing on.
I haven't made it up to that one yet.
Doesn't appear there's anything on UDisc or PDGA about it or Disc Golf Course Review. The closest I'm pulling up is Lincoln Memorial University in Harrogate. But
okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, this came from a coworker. So if anybody's got any information about that, let us know.
Yeah.
Your coworkers are unreliable, Jay.
Well, he does not play disc golf, but he said that he was out and about around Cumberland, and he said he didn't know they had a course there, and he was asking me about it, and I was like, I didn't know there was a college or a course there either. The only one I knew in Cedars or in Lebanon was Cedars of Lebanon.
A lot of those places don't advertise that stuff.
So
I mean, I know there was me and my wife took a vacation, went to Cumberland Gap, Tennessee, and stayed in a bed and breakfast out there. And one of the little places down there, it was like I think they call it the Abraham Lincoln Memorial University or something like that. Real tiny school. And they had a 9-hole course. And I didn't even find out about it except my wife wanted to go to their little museum. And we pulled up in there and I saw a basket and I started typing in my phone. And sure enough, they had a little 9-hole course.
At the museum?
Like at the university. Played in the campus, like in and around the campus. Yeah. Like I said, really small school, probably like less than 10 buildings,
but
all jammed in together.
Yeah.
Right.
Advertised. That makes sense.
Yeah, it was cool. But you had to look for it. It wasn't like something that would, I mean, I think it popped up on UDisc is how I found it. But
Gotcha. When we talk about new courses, what was one of the first courses or the first course you ever played?
Oh, Northside in Gainesville. That's where I started playing when I was going to school in Gainesville.
Okay.
I actually have a funny story about playing in Gainesville too. So, I mean, we were playing in '97. I was there till '01, and we played Northside. There's another small course out there. what was it called? I was just talking about it not too long ago. I'll have to remember the name. I cannot remember the name. It was a tiny little course with like palm fronds everywhere on it. It was just a true pitch and putt course. This other one wasn't very good, but there was hardly anyone ever playing there. Northside is like the Seven Oaks there.
Gotcha.
It's pretty popular. Of course, really flat and sandy and everything else, but it's got a nice amount of trees and everything. It's not wide open at all. But there's this one hole that's fairly open. About the first, back then it seemed like 600 feet, but it was probably 300 feet because we couldn't throw very far. Like I said, if we could make it to the opening, that was like, the best thing in the world. We called it the Grand Chuck. It's probably not even a 400-foot hole. I have not researched to see how far it actually is, but
Internet
it felt
400.
like forever, right? Well, there was this tiny little kid, this like 7-8-year-old kid that could just pure the gap and get down there. It's the most ridiculous thing I had ever seen in my life, and all of our friends would see it. Finally, the second or third time we'd seen him out there and played around and seen him, I think we were playing, and he was there. Him and his family. It was him, his other brother, and father. They let us play through after they had thrown because they were just like practicing or something. And we asked them their name. I didn't think anything of it at the time because we didn't know anyone who anything. And it turned out it was Garrett. His name was Garrett Gerthy.
Oh.
Now again, I didn't know anything. I mean, even when I came back and played, I didn't know anything from anyone. Know about pros. And they were talking about people who throw far. And it was when I was playing random dubs at Two Rivers. And they were talking about people who throw far. And I was telling them about this kid. And they were like, and Jonathan High was like, and I didn't tell him who this kid name was yet. And he goes, oh man, Double G plays there. We grew up in Gainesville. And I was like, who's Double G? And he said, Garrett Gerthy. And I'm like, wait, what? And he told me the name. And I'm like, that's the little kid. I was like, that was the kid's name. And his brother, I can't remember his name. It was like Ethan or something. And it was like Evan. I'm like, yeah, that's him. I couldn't remember the dad's name. I think they lived like right off the course because they were there like every day.
That's awesome.
And there was and I don't think it was them, but there was some old man that allowed you to use discs. Like you come to his house and he had free discs to borrow, and then you come back and drop them off. That's how we started playing.
Okay.
Borrowed a
That's
couple
pretty
discs,
cool.
played, and you bring them back.
That's dope. Marcus, you were talking about super pros. Well, what if we've established that a super pro can be a local pro too?
Okay.
Imagine,
All right.
I mean,
All right.
if Garrett Gerthy lives right next to your home course, I mean,
Right.
your local
He's
pro
your
is a
local
super
pro.
pro. Yeah,
Yeah, and at that age, when
Even if
when
he's
you're a
8.
young one.
Yeah.
it's great. We don't have to explain anything. Justin's in on all of our inside jokes and our little.
Well, I'm curious. Like, I wonder how old that would have put Garrett. I don't know how old he is now, but I wonder how old that would have been whenever you were watching him.
That would make him probably 30, or anywhere from 29 to 31 now. I would say.
How old was he then?
I think he was about 8. So it was late 90s. It was sometime in the late 90s.
That's pretty cool, though, to like say that you watched him then and you didn't really know, and then to find out who he was later on.
Well, he's Gainesville's Harper
Yeah,
Thompson.
Yeah, it's completely
That's
wild.
true. That's very true.
I mean, it was, to find that out later just blew my mind. That little kid actually turned out to be something in the disc golf world. Because he looked like he could, but again, we know nothing about the disc golf world.
Yeah.
The disc golf world for us was Northside Park. That's pretty much it.
Exactly.
Your foyer around disc golf is kind of going. It seems to go casual competition, and now you seem to be on the retail side of things and in the business junction side.
Well, I can tell you, he
Right.
joined the PDGA in 2014, and since 2014, so in 6 years, he's played 122
Just a few.
PDGA events. And that's just PDGA events.
Yes.
So that's an average of 20-ish a year.
That's not bad.
Yeah, that's like, I mean,
Little mini tour.
that's right around what a touring pro plays usually.
I'd probably
20
say at
30.
least 30 to 50 more unsanctioned
Oh, yeah.
events, I'd say.
Well, people don't understand that about the Nashville disc golf community. Is that what's going on?
Did you not hear that? It sounds like somebody's knocking at the door. You got a doorbell?
I will check.
I don't know. It just sounded like somebody's beating on the door.
You had good hearing.
No, I heard the thud. It was like more of a feel.
Uh,
It'll be nothing. I guarantee it'll be nothing.
Right,
It'll be
right.
like,
Way to go, Jay.
hey, better nothing than
Yeah. Well, anyway, when he comes back, scoot back in. But what I was going to say was when I'm talking to people about, sponsorship and things like that, it's always hard to convey because I don't think it's the case with a lot of areas. But here in Nashville, the majority of our most successful events are unsanctioned. I mean, we have unsanctioned events that get 150 people show up, no problem.
Oh, Seven Oaks Bag Tag to start the year. I mean, 181. 181 because that one person.
Yeah, that one.
We had to get that extra hole in.
Yeah.
Well, we got to figure it out this year. We're gonna do a little different.
I saw that.
Yeah,
a little different.
Genius. Because hard work though. 2 days. That's brutal.
It is, but at the same time, like when we have 400 plus members, you have to start making some changes.
Oh, the 6.5 hour round that day.
Yeah, but nobody wants to do that.
I don't want to
personally, as a board member, walked off, looked at Will. I was like, never again.
Yeah, I didn't want to do that.
I don't think there was anybody that was stoked about it.
No, no.
That was brutal.
Growing pains.
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
But I mean,
good to have them.
In a way,
we had to turn anybody down.
Thanks to COVID, now we've been able to make those changes in our process without anybody losing their minds.
Oh, absolutely.
So true.
I mean, yeah.
Tea time format for no other reason. Everybody, I think, would really push back against that, just because. I mean, to be perfectly honest, one of the drawbacks to the whole format change is that you lose that coming together moment, that portion of the event that's like a community gathering type thing. You do lose that to a certain extent, and so that's why. To make that more successful in the completion of our missions and our objectives, what we need to do is be able to have more events where we're just coming together and hanging out. Things like the banquet and stuff like that. But, of course, we can't with COVID.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
it's been like a double-edged sword with COVID. It's helped, and it's also been, not detrimental or harmful, but it's just it makes everything not community as much.
Right. It's definitely changed.
Sure.
Yeah.
For me, one of the better aspects of it all is the hanging out and camaraderie of it all.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's we talk about that all the time on the show. That's something that everybody agrees with is the community part.
Yeah,
I think at least half the value to just about everybody that's involved is the community aspect of it.
No, nothing.
False alarm, Jay.
Well, better safe than
Get
sorry.
your head checked.
Oh, dude, I heard it, man. I heard something thudding down there. I don't know what it was, but sounded like somebody knocking.
It was our ghost, the podcast ghost, Clarence.
Well, either way, he seems to be a good spirit. He doesn't seem to be harmful.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had.
I've lived in a couple of
Not gonna
houses
say
where there's
anything.
been some activities. I feel like
False
and
call,
never been bad activities.
Yeah.
Just a little sage goes a long way.
Yeah, and there's I keep forgetting to make an official announcement, but just if you're watching this or listening to it, just know that for the 2020 people that won prizes in the bag tag series, we are not going to be doing an in-person banquet this year for the MCDG bag tag series because Nashville's numbers have gone way up, and there's new regulations and stuff, and even finding a venue would be really difficult, but we have had so much success with keeping everybody safe throughout the year that we don't want to end the year by creating an opportunity for somebody to get sick. So we had toyed around with the idea of doing it somewhere on private property like Ogwood or something like that. But at that point, it was just kind of, we're hanging on by a thread here. So, so that being said, trophies and prizes and all that stuff are on order. So we are if you placed first through third in the bag tag series, total points, you will have a trophy coming to you, and we will give out a lifetime membership. All the usual things that we do, and we are still talking about the best way to go about acknowledging all those folks. There will probably be some sort of a live stream to the club page that everybody can tune into, and maybe we'll set it up where like the people in first place can join into a Zoom meeting or something, and we can let them say a few words and things like that.
Yeah.
And I figure we'll probably have the lifetime membership winner on the podcast, and we can give that person their award here on the show. I think that's going to be my last official act as president is giving off that lifetime membership.
I like
nice.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it. We've already established who we're giving it to. We're not going to talk names on the podcast, but But yeah, a very deserving person. I think the timing is appropriate. It's going to be good stuff. And so yeah, there's an update on the prizes and all that stuff and the end of the series and the banquet and all of that jazz. Stay safe out there, folks. This thing is digging in. Of course, it's flu season, so conditions are ripe for viruses and stuff like that to spread. So make sure you're taking care of each other and yourselves. Make sure you're taking care of yourselves and each other, rather.
Will, you gonna take the vaccine if you get a chance to?
Yep.
Nope.
Jay? Justin?
Yes.
Ooh, I'm the deciding factor. I'm gonna say, yeah, sure, why not?
3-1. I'm out.
Not going to take it?
Nope.
Scared?
No, not scared. Just not worried.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't see anything going on right now at all. Like, I mean, I see it and I hear it's happening and I see it, but I don't. I'm one of those people, man. You gotta come at me with more than that. And then when
I just had another friend die from COVID.
I'm not saying people aren't dying, but when you do the math of like how many, even with the inflated numbers that they're given, like when you do the math compared to our own population, it's such a small percent that it's just not even worrisome to me.
Oh, here we go. We're going to get into a debate.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good.
Next.
What else we got? I'm just kidding.
no,
What else are we going to do?
That's just all I'm saying. Just not worried. So if I'm not worried, why would I mean? I rarely get.
Oh,
A
there's a
flu
lot
shot.
of people with that same opinion. I mean, that same.
I don't get flu shots, and I don't think I've ever. I've gotten the flu one time, my entire life. So
Sometimes it only takes one time, though.
that it does. No Darwin, baby, survival of the fittest. Can we do it? That's the way I look at it. When
I'm
your
not-
time is here, your time is here.
Well, I myself am not very fit, so not risking it.
But anyway, moving on.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, bottom line is this and many diseases, most even viruses, stuff like that, are going to have more of a dramatic impact on people in weaker health.
Sure.
So take care of yourself. Make sure And they're saying a bunch of stuff about vitamin D and zinc and vitamin C and stuff like that boost your immune system. So do all those things. Look into it.
Jalapenos.
Lots of spicy foods.
I've not heard
Keep
the
your sinuses
jalapeno
clear.
spicy one.
Really?
Wear a mask. Gosh.
For real? Jalapenos.
Nice.
I'm screwed. 'Cause I
And
hate
don't let it
spicy
hang
foods.
down below your
Spicy
nose.
food. Spicy food keeps you thin.
Mm.
Does anybody else find that as annoying as I do?
What's that?
People wearing their mask hanging down below their nose. It annoys the
Oh,
shit out of
man.
me. I'm like, because
You
it's
know,
just a logical.
dude,
it's a thing with logic.
you
It's
should
like you realize that you might as well just not even pretend.
So what they're saying is
Like,
like,
work-
hey, I'll get it from you, but I'm not gonna give it to you.
Right.
You should hear my spiel at the Nashville Disc Golf Store every day. Man, let me tell you.
I've heard about
It
a
gets
couple
old.
stories where you've had to argue with some folks.
Oh yeah, it gets tiring. It definitely gets tiring. Especially when people come in the store and they're like, "Oh, Davidson County." I'm like, "So you don't wear a mask ever?"
Dude, you'd be surprised. Davidson County, to me, is the place where people do wear masks. Because
No,
you go to
I'm saying
Robertson.
they're-
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they're coming from another county.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the thing. They don't even have a mask.
Yeah, you go to like Springfield and you
Yeah.
stop at a store somewhere
Yeah, oh,
like,
yeah.
on your way to Ogwood. Nobody's wearing masks.
Oh, like
A lady actually
yeah.
told me to take, like, I walked in wearing one. She was like, no, you take that stupid thing off. And I was like,
No, that's
What?
all right. Yeah, like I told you before today, we were buying a hutch
yeah.
in Lebanon. Oh yeah, nobody had a mask on. Nobody in the store or nothing. Just us.
Yeah, I mean, better safe than sorry, in my opinion. And that's the thing, too, is that we have to look at it, too. Businesses and parks and events and things like that are not going to be allowed to reopen unless the vaccine is being taken and people are wearing masks and the numbers are going down. Until then, our economy is in steady decline, and people's livelihoods and the quality of life are in steady decline as well.
But yeah, for us, I mean, the last thing we want is the store to be shut down for 2 months again.
Right.
It's not good. It doesn't do anybody any good.
Yeah. Yeah. Jay, I wasn't trying to. You just kind of clammed up there.
Oh no, I'm just letting y'all give you all's opinion. I mean, that's just my opinion. I wear a mask everywhere I go into places and stuff like that. But I'm not gonna take something that, for one, the flu shot, if you're going to take that, that's been around for years and years and years. You're talking about throwing something out there that's rushed into production, rushed into, and it has to be kept at like negative 94 degrees or something like that in order to, super, super cold storage. Like,
it's from space.
And maybe, who knows where it's from? I mean, and I don't, and
there was an asteroid going by last month, and
they sucked off of it.
I mean, I can't understand the efficacy issue with that.
Here's the deal: when you're rushing something like that, and you're just, I mean, it's just, I find things odd where there's no vaccine that'll take us until June next year, and then as soon as the elections happen, all of a sudden there's a vaccine again, and it's like, and no joke, it's going in like, I think Britain has gotten the first approval, and they're going to start giving it to people like in the next couple of weeks.
Dude. They're all going to turn into zombies.
No, I'm not worried about it. But like,
that's great. We have another country to take it first, and we can see what
would happen about it. But like, if it were to be offered to me at this point in time, I think I would have to pass and just kind of wait for some more research to come out about it.
I can definitely understand that. I feel it is rushed too. I mean, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a fast timeline. I mean, you think about it for me personally, I work in a medical environment,
sure.
So I'm vaccinated for all sorts of shit anyway. And then on top of that, I've been there for 10 years, and I mean, I'm probably immune to just about anything that I could catch. I mean, I could probably catch COVID and not take a huge hit in the gut from it. But again, that's the thing, is you might not feel it and be spreading it, and I can't afford to bring it home to my wife or her elderly parents or anything like that.
Or your cats, bro.
That's what we've kind of come to it on other podcasts, is just saying that it's,
I don't know anything necessarily about this vaccine, like partake as far as like compared to a flu shot, but a flu shot you have to get every year. Is this going to be something you'll have to do every year, or is it something that once you get it once, like, your polio vaccine, you don't have to worry about it anymore?
I think it'll be more like flu shot. It's
okay.
It's totally the coronavirus. I can't speak for like what Dr. Hoy would say or anything else, but it's not something. I think it would be more like the flu shot, that it's going to
ultimately
change.
To keep getting it every year or whatever.
Yeah.
One of the reasons that they have to keep it colder than minus 80 degrees is because it's not a typical vaccine where it's a small portion of the virus itself, just enough to trigger your immune system, but not make you fully contract the virus. What this one does is it tricks your system into, it tricks your immune system into creating antibodies to fend off the virus, but you're not. It's not actually being presented with the virus, but your immune system reacts to it as though it were. So it generates the antibodies for it without having to have contracted the disease.
Gotcha.
And
makes sense.
So at least that's what I've been able to gather from what I've read and listened to about it. But I mean,
I just found out that they had that going on like a couple of days ago. Yeah, so I hadn't had time to really look into it at all. So that's what I was curious.
But people, great.
What do you think, Marcus? How you feel about it?
I'm pretty much gonna do whatever my fiance says.
Smart man,
smartest man in the room.
Yeah, that's
true. Just like yourself. I just want to protect my son. They have a lot of. Well, we actually just had somebody die. His name was James. 2 weeks ago, we lost. I guess it was her uncle. He was maybe like 68 years old. We had just got chairs from his house. Nobody could go in because he had COVID, and he passed maybe 2 days after my son's birthday. So
sorry, Marcus.
Yeah. So hit home. I just know to stay safe myself. I'm pretty glad I work by myself. 80-90% of the time. So I'm not really exposed to a lot of people. Wear a mask everywhere I go, and live a safe life right now. Boring, safe life.
Yeah, a guy I used to work with in the shop that I still work in, he just passed from it. Of course, he was 90, 91, or close to it. And he got real sick, felt like he couldn't breathe, went into the hospital. They told him he had really advanced lung cancer, and he hadn't smoked in decades. So that was a surprise, and then he ended up, they tested him positive for COVID, and so then he ended up passing. And of course, that's one of those that they counted up as a COVID death, but obviously there are other factors at play there. But yeah, it is getting close to home, and it's interesting. We talked about this before, but where you always would see these posts on social media saying, does anybody actually know somebody that's caught this virus? Does anybody actually know somebody that's died from this? Well, you don't see those posts anymore.
No, not too much.
I mean, that means it's not just us that it hits home for. So
Bless you.
Bless you.
yeah, almost blew the mic up. Sorry. Coronavirus. But no, man, it's not. I mean, it's no laughing matter. But my hope is that we can get back to things as usual. We can get back to tournaments. We can, that's what I'm looking forward to. And if taking a vaccine helps bring us closer to that, like, and not just that, but like just real life where, my wife isn't scared to go out to dinner and
Right.
go to somewhere to celebrate her birthday. I'm looking forward to that time.
The return of normalcy.
Or some sense of it. Yeah. I mean,
sure.
A funny story
think we
about
could
going
all-
out to eat just today on the way to go and pick up the hutch. We stopped at Burger Republic in Mount Juliet.
Fancy.
But we ate outside. Mm-hmm. It's like what? It was probably about 40 degrees outside, and the outside seating is in between the buildings, so a nice tunnel effect. Had to be 15-mile-an-hour winds. They had the heater thing on, but of course, that don't matter. I mean, the wind was just blowing the heat away. That was a rough lunch, let me tell you. I mean, we inhaled the food, and as soon as we got the food, we're like, we need to-go boxes and the check.
yeah.
And I wolfed down my food. She ate about a quart of hers and ate the rest in the car.
Man,
It was brutal.
At this point, we're lucky to be able to eat outside at restaurants.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, in L.A., they've closed down restaurants that just serve outside.
And we were the only ones outside. We were the only ones crazy enough to sit outside. But yeah, there was people inside, and we were like, yeah, we don't eat inside right now at anywhere. That's
I'm kind of
sure.
curious what this has done for some family dynamics, though. When you're looking at it, like, I know that it is for us at home. I mean, like, we always spend time together, and I think most families try to. But when you're forced with it, like, or even like when you go out to eat, a lot of people like nowadays, instead of even doing the outside thing, we just call it in and go get it and come back home.
Right.
And
That's generally what we do.
So, like, yeah, don't get me
Yeah, or
wrong.
Uber
There's
Eats
some
or
probably
Grubhub
some
or
family dynamics that they're stuck. I know a lot of people talked about that in the beginning of being quarantined, where like people, if they're in domestic abuse relationships and like that could be a really bad thing. But I think overall, maybe this could be a good thing for a lot of family dynamics. Making people sit down and interact with one another and get to know each other kind of again on a more personal level because you're stuck at home with them.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. I wonder what the future holds with, what people might be like after this whole thing. Maybe they'll be a little bit more closer together.
Right.
On the opposite end of that, too, you've looked at the people, like the families that one person gets sick.
Mm-hmm.
And then the way that family is affected by that, like my best friend from high school, him and his brother, their mom was in remission for breast cancer, and her cancer had come back right at the same time. Like, she was starting chemo right at the same time that Peter's family and him all got COVID-19.
Wow.
And there was like a real bad scare, like, because he had given her a ride to one of her first chemo treatments. And so it was, and then so it's also like, yeah, it could be an opportunity to come closer together. It's also driving a lot of people apart.
Sure.
I know for me, I had a month and a half where I didn't have to go to work, maybe once every other week or something like that. And my wife was working from home. So yeah, we got to spend a lot of time together and we were getting along great. And it was nice.
It was good.
And I, coming out of that, and I was having time to practice putting and I was doing all this stuff outside and learning new stuff. And it was just, I came away from it feeling like, man, I hope a lot of people, and I think they probably won't, like, take time to appreciate what an opportunity that was that we were all presented with, to take a break and kind of pause everything and kind of reset yourself, your perspective, and your priorities and all that stuff. So, I mean, I know for a lot of people, it's just life as usual. I mean, because since then, I've been going to work every day,
Yeah, I mean, as far as life that goes like that, I've been life as usual the whole time. So I've seen kind of both aspects of it.
Yeah.
So that's what makes me curious about the family dynamic, just in general.
Yeah. Yeah, especially people with kids, because I know Carter is going to school now, but like...
yeah. Well, he's at home quarantined.
Is he right now?
Because they had exposure at school. They're going to the hybrid next week or whatever, so he'll go 2 days to school, basically virtual for 3 days. Which that's the thing is with that, and it's very hard because we've seen it firsthand because he had to do virtual at the end of last year, towards the end when it first hit. Excuse me. That it's a lot harder to get a kid to sit down at that computer screen in a virtual environment or like at a home environment with nobody around him and get them to learn.
Oh, yeah.
It's 1,000 times harder. But versus them being at school. And that's what, coming from the school where my mom teaches too, same county, in Cheatham County. That was the reason why they had to force kids to go back to the classrooms because they were looking at half or more of these students not even logging on to virtual. And when you're dealing with certain counties that maybe not, where they live, they may not have internet, or where they are in life may not be financially able to do that. And they said that they had people like line out McDonald's and any restaurant they could that had free Wi-Fi. You just see the parking lot's full. And they still weren't getting half the kids to log on. And so, like, you're looking at major education loss or people being left behind at this point, in certain counties. And that's just here in one county that I know of. So I can't imagine how detrimental that can be in other places. So that virtual side and that part of it's really good to separate them out. But how good are we doing on the long end?
Yeah. Yeah, and then you talk about the possibility of those, when that generation grows up, how is that, going to affect the future?
Sure.
You already have a lot of concerns about automation and stuff like that, removing a lot of jobs, and
sure.
And then you end up with a generation right behind that doesn't know how to do anything.
Yeah, there's a lot of concerns heading into the future for sure.
Well, it was like the whole baby boomer thing. There were baby
Absolutely.
boomers because of the
war.
So and
maybe we'll get to keep our Social Security when we're that age.
Maybe you never know.
No, I doubt it.
Yeah, I'm on with you there.
Wouldn't bet on that.
Keep track of
I'm
those
a
IRA
pessimist,
funds,
but-
guys.
Yeah.
So, Justin, I know another thing that you're into is home brewing.
Yes.
You've been into that for quite some time as well, right?
Oh, yes. First time I homebrewed a beer was in 96 with same college buddies that at this time, actually in 96, we actually lived in a house together. We had, it was 5 of us. We all went to, actually, I met them all in middle school. So I was friends with them since I've been 12 years old. And we got a house together in Gainesville. And this was before homebrewing was what it is even now. Back then, there was a homebrew shop in Gainesville, and we got like pre-hopped stuff, so you didn't even add hops to it or nothing, and it was something to do. We bought a kit, and it was the first beer was tasty, but had like very little alcohol in it. I didn't even like beer at the time, but this one was a little darker beer. I can't remember. It was like honestly, I have no idea what it was at the time. I mean, this was before craft beer was really big. I mean, back then, Sierra Nevada Pale Ale was like a major thing. Dogfish had just come out. It was still rare to find, so we would try some of those weird things. Man, I'm trying to think of any other craft beer that was even around. Like back then, Killian's Red was like
I remember when that was a thing.
that was like a dark beer. You thought that was heavy.
I remember
Irish Red.
craft beer wasn't even a term.
No, it was like micro brewers or no.
Micro was.
Yeah.
I remember when that came around, but I remember I was in the desert of Nevada. I was on my way to Tonopah when my grandfather died, and there was this little ghost town called Goldfield right next to it. And as we drove through, the only place in town that had lights on was this little store, and it had one of those like light up marquee type roadside signs with a big arrow pointing at the store.
Right.
And it said "Weird beer sold here."
That's amazing sign.
Yeah, and I drove by it, and I was like,
That would have even back then I would have had to stop.
"What? Weird beer sold here?" And I was like, "Wow."
I got to know what weird beer is.
So now I guess that was the pre-microbrew. It was like,
Yeah.
You ever tried any of that weird beer?
Yeah. Yeah, then we probably brewed about 6 batches and just got so sick of cleaning bottles. It sucked. I mean, and our beer wasn't worth the effort. We were making really at our best beer was exceedingly mediocre. That's the best the best one we made. I mean, it was, and that just got frustrating because we weren't very good at it. And the ingredients and stuff back then were way crappier. I mean, it just was, it wasn't up the standard. It wasn't enough
The
home
stuff
brewers.
you could actually get.
Yeah. The stuff they supplied to homebrew shops and stuff, it just wasn't any good. It was really hard. The yeast was really shitty, which we found out that's, later when I started homebrewing, that was the big key. Mediocre ingredients, everything else is one thing, but if the yeast is shit, your beer is shit. I mean, that's the key ingredient.
Yeah.
And we had no idea. We were just using the packets that came with it, and they were just awful. So yeah, we ended up giving the kit away to somebody that wanted to do something with it, and then I didn't brew again for like 10 years. I had a coworker at an old job I had that got a kit for Christmas, and I'm like, yeah, I used to do that a long time ago, and then went with him to get a couple extra things for his supply at one of the local homebrew shops that just closed.
All seasons?
Yeah.
Didn't they move locations though?
No, they could have, because the only reason they went out of business is because the owner of the building was selling the building.
Okay.
Because it's in a,
it's in the crap part of town right there.
Oh, it's in an awesome,
the good part of
where
town
they're
now.
where they're tearing everything down to build
To
condos.
build everything condos.
So they they had to go. But the dude was just done. He's like, I asked him what he's gonna go to. He's basically gonna walk the earth for a while. Really awesome guy.
I'm sure their business was successful. I mean,
Yeah.
They
Oh,
seemed
yeah.
I mean, I know they did a lot indoor gardening, cheese making, beer.
It was mostly
wine.
gardening stuff. Yeah.
I've been in that store a few times.
Yeah, great people. But yeah, God, I lost my train of thought now.
Oh, you were talking about the supplies,
Sorry,
the
bud.
quality
Yes.
ingredients. Yeah.
So I went with him to go get some extra stuff there, and I'm like, you know what? While we were there, I was like, I'll just get one to make my own beer too. So we'll make our first ones, separately, and then compare. Oh man, was my beer bad? Woo! I added like extra sugar to get more alcohol.
Not a good idea.
Terrible idea.
Well,
More alcohol does not mean more better.
Sure it
More
does.
gooder. It is not more gooder.
You just won't remember how terrible it was.
Oh,
you won't remember the bitter
I believe
beer
it was
face.
2.5 pounds
Oh, I do.
of brown sugar. So I was like, that'll add more flavor. No, it did not. It just made
Brown
it
sugar.
harsh. It was so harsh. And my friends, awesome. They were all like, dude, this beer is so good. I was like, oh, cool. You can have it all. And I will not ask your opinion on my beers anymore because this was not a good beer.
well, flash forward. Now you judge beer, don't you?
I have, yes. I was
So that's
I was president of the local homebrew club for 3 years.
Yeah, Music City Brewers.
Yep.
Yep.
And here's a bit of odd trivia with that club. So one of the founding members of that club and current outgoing treasurer of that club is Steve Rocky Johnson.
Okay.
PDGA number 307.
wow.
He is also one of the original designers of the original Two Rivers Disc Golf Park.
You're gonna have to send me that in a text.
Isn't that crazy?
See if I can get him on the show.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've not heard of this guy. Does he still throw?
He, last time he played was with me about 2 years ago, I'd say. We played front nine at Shelby, which he had never played before. He hadn't played almost all the courses. I mean, he was also one of the founding members of the Flying Disc Drive with
With
all
Ken
those
and
guys.
Steve.
Yep.
and- yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
Yep.
That's cool.
He was, and his background in Frisbee a long time ago was mostly freestyle.
Mhm.
He competed in the 70s and probably in the freestyle stuff. That was his thing.
Another person I've got on the list to get on the show is Joel Rogers, because he's local and he just not too long ago was inducted into the Freestyle Hall of Fame,
Really?
Nice.
the World Flying Disc Federation.
I'm sure Rocky Johnson knows who he is.
Look,
Because, Rocky's a tall, lanky guy. He still threw way further than I did when we started playing, or when I played with him again. Crazy thing is how he putts, too. He putts pancake putt.
No,
Okay.
I love it.
Never seen anybody do that before. I mean, I've seen people throw like that, but never as the go-to putt.
Yeah, I've messed around with goofing around the basket doing it.
Oh.
But like I never commit to it to like a tournament round. or
Oh, he had some
something.
skills, too, man. He just 25 feet away, right in the center. I was just like, my mind was blown the first time I saw him do it.
I always say you can play disc golf however you want.
Oh,
You
absolutely.
don't have to play it like me.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Especially when when I started playing was before there was YouTube for sure, but before there was really any instructional video or any instructions whatsoever, the form you used was the form you used to throw a catch frisbee
Sure.
or whatever you figured out for yourself. That's why we sucked.
Well, I think that's.
I mean, that was part of my problem.
I think
why-
it contributed to the learning curve
oh,
and like how long it takes certain people, or how long it takes people to get past that learning curve. Because even when I started, it took a long time to get to where I could throw the disc even decently.
Well, it's
Yeah.
like, you gotta see how much you're interested first.
Mhm.
It's like you're learning versus how interested in the sport you actually are. It's like,
the learning curve now is so much less than it was back then.
Yeah,
though.
because of the information. I think.
Yes.
internet.
You can Google proper form and videotape yourself. I mean, there's so many things you can do now to increase your form without even talking to anybody.
Sure.
Back then, you had to make
Yeah,
friends with
nothing.
somebody who knew how to throw. And I mean, that intimidation of walking up to a stranger and asking for help, or if they offered, I mean, that was the only way you could really
Sure.
do it, or just stalk the person as they're throwing behind them and watching how they do. I mean, there's no real good way.
Is that how you learned? Just stalk the person in front of you?
No, we just didn't learn.
Yeah.
We like I said, we threw 225 feet, and we were okay. We were completely content with our horrible selves.
I accidentally was stalking Rodney, I guess. Like, inadvertently. That's how we
Yeah.
hit it off. Hey, whoa. What you doing there, boy? That whip it.
How you throw that?
Right?
What are you doing with that? I remember you threw that. Inova made it for a little while, and you were so stuck on it. So
The wedge?
The wedge.
The wedge.
Yeah.
I still throw it.
You still throw the wedge?
Fuck yeah.
Dang, I would have never thought that.
Still bagging a classic. Marcus Rogers.
So we're gonna need the wedge this weekend at White House
Uh-huh.
for hole. I think it's 4. They got a new position. You're playing to the long position left. I think on some hole.
What's going on this weekend
6.
at White House?
Ooh, that's a
Ambassador?
interesting shot.
Oh, I'm not playing the Ambassador.
Yeah.
Is that White House this year? That's
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah.
It's a good course for it. I like that.
But yeah,
That's
you know,
an
little
interesting-
shorty.
Yeah, that's an interesting shot. Yeah.
The-
That changes
that
that hole
goes-
completely.
Right, you go straight and then like phase off to the right
Yeah.
on the hillside.
I can see the wedge being real good. A little slow turn.
Yeah, yeah.
And
it's
being
nice
the
to
wedge,
know
if you
that
accidentally hit a tree, it's not going to glide 800 feet the other direction.
No.
That's nice to know you still got that in the bag.
Yeah.
Because I was like, one of the first things I remember, like when I met you, was you were throwing the wedge. I'm like, what is this guy doing throwing the wedge?
And it's funny.
Learn how to throw a hyzer.
We started getting them in the store again. I found in my always search for other discs to get and everything else. I found a supply of them, got them in the store, and they sell as soon as I can get them. Because
That's pretty
beginner, it's a
crazy.
perfect beginner
It's a
disc.
great beginner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And then you get a pro with it. You're like, hey, watch this.
Yep.
Hyzer, flat, and hyzer.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Stokely talks about him in his book.
Does he?
Yeah.
Really?
In a good light.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
That's pretty neat.
They get a mention anyway.
Yeah.
Stokely disc was one of my first. X2 was one of my first
Yeah.
like premium discs way back in the day. I got it from Play It Again, used in like '99 probably.
Wow.
Yeah, my very first discs were Lightning. I had
Okay,
a Lightning rubber
yeah.
putter and a #1 flyer. And then I got like a #2 slice.
That's pretty.
Crazy. And then my first premium disc was a Millennium JLS.
Okay.
And that thing was just, it was a 150 Millennium JLS, and it was just pure money. I mean, and it kills me because I had that disc for, I had that disc for so long, and I lost it at Montesano in Huntsville when I started playing
I
with
love
my
that
buddy.
course.
Oh, it's my favorite course in Huntsville.
Yeah.
And how I lost it, it just was so dumb. I threw a great shot, like I threw that on my drive. I threw an amazing upshot and left it there. I was so happy about the upshot.
Just left it just sitting.
And I went back like about 20 minutes later when I realized, because I had to go find that disc, and it was gone.
Poof.
Oh,
We've all been down there.
so frustrating.
What you got there, Marcus?
First thing that comes to your mind when you see this disc.
Pretty?
Yeah, that is really gorgeous.
It's interesting, right?
Yeah.
Where'd you score that thing at?
Stokely?
That was a gift from Scott Stokely.
Yeah.
Nice. What is it?
One of many.
This is a deputy.
Okay.
What you know about the deputy?
Nothing.
Flippy. Nice.
I shot the
Something dynamic.
sheriff.
Paige Pierce used
I
it.
do not bag the deputy.
I do know what that one is. The old Berg.
Stokely's favorite disc.
Can't keep that in stock in any way, shape, or form.
Really?
Oh,
I think
Hold
I'm
it
gonna,
up close to the camera, Marcus, so
I think
everybody can see how pretty that
I think I'm
thing is.
actually going to use this.
Autographed by Mr. Stokely himself.
That's
very
pretty sweet.
nice.
We got a really nice up there. We had
I like the
Ron
stamp
and
on that thing.
we had Ron and Scott on the podcast. You can see right up there. There's a disc that has the image from that event, their fundraiser challenge that they had.
That's
Nice.
pretty awesome.
So he gave us one of those autographed by him and Ron. And
Stokely was one of the few pros we had heard of and actually seen coming through Gainesville and stuff. And he stuck out because he's so dang tall.
True.
And back then, it was just we didn't know anything about. Again, the main reason we knew him is because his name was on my disc. So somebody was saying, "Oh, yeah, it's Scott Stokely over there," and it's like, "Oh, cool." We didn't go up to him. We were way too intimidated, and we had just overheard that. Like, it wasn't like we were in any kind of group with other people.
Sure.
We just heard it, and I was like, "Oh, this name on my disc." And we saw him and everything else, and then of course we just moved on to our next hole. But it was always pretty cool that was. Oh yeah, I saw that guy play.
he's in town, man.
Is he staying here now?
Well, he's
Hanging
He's
out.
not staying anywhere.
not here
Ah.
long term. But
I didn't think so. He seemed like quite a nomad from what I've watched and heard. And
Yeah, he's on the road.
nice.
Yeah, he's staying close to town with some friends
Okay.
for the time being until he wraps a couple things up, and then he's got plans to do some caving. He's got plans to do some scuba diving down in Florida.
Because I know he was signed up for our tournament actually that happened yesterday, and then he had to drop out.
Have you seen? Well, I don't know if you talked about it on the most recent episode, but yeah, funny story about that. So we had him on the podcast, and we were talking about the tournament that day, or we played with him that weekend, and he was saying, he told me, he was like, man, he was saying it's supposed to be like 100% chance of rain and blah blah blah. He's like, I might be a pansy and drop out of this thing, and he thought it was the Sunday before. It actually was.
Oh, I gotcha.
And then he had told me a couple days later, he was like, yeah, or it was like it had gone from 86% to 100%. And he said, yeah, I went ahead and dropped out, scaredy catted out of that one. And I was like, oh, yeah, yeah. And then like later that day after he told me that, I was like, wait a minute. That tournament's not till next weekend. How was the weather? Was it nice?
It was beautiful. It was. I will say the beginning of the round was probably the foggiest. I mean, I have ever played. I mean, you could not. The first 6 holes we played, you could not see the basket.
That's cool.
It was amazing looking and everything else, but
Couldn't see it.
very difficult to throw at, especially when there's OB everywhere, and you're just aiming at what you could remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the Country Hills course.
They were asking, they were asking me like, "Where's the hole?" I'm like, "Over there."
Up yonder way.
Like, what's over there? I'm like, sand traps. If you go too far, you get this. You have the cart path over there. And I'm like, where is it? I'm like, it's a little to the left. The sand traps before. The green is over there. Where's the basket? I'm pretty sure it's straight ahead. But I'm working off memory, too, because I had worked store the day before. So, yeah, that was interesting.
Who are your winners?
Oh, let's see. Winner in MPO was Jordan Davidson.
Jordan Davidson. Yep, I have that pulled up already, actually.
MP40 was the legendary David Harless.
Oh, yeah. Good.
And we didn't have any FPOs.
Nope, you go straight from MPO to Pro Masters and then to Advanced. So we got Jordan Davidson in first for Open. Clint Wright, our buddy, former guest of the podcast.
Yes, sir.
Chris Leviner, I hope I'm saying that right. And Dutch Napier was in town
Yep.
Nice.
in fourth place. That's cool to see him playing. I love seeing Kevin Rarick out playing tournaments again,
Yeah,
too.
back out playing. Yeah,
dude,
he killed it too.
He's been lighting it up.
Like the last tournament we had, the Long Hollow one. He threw the sickest round I've ever seen. Because the second round at Long Hollow, 35-mile-an-hour wind gusts.
True.
Try and putt in 35-mile-an-hour winds, and he shot like a 9 or 10 down.
You're putting with a boss.
Bonkers.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Just to let you know,
Stiletto.
I played from the same tees that he did. 22 over.
Ooh.
And I was fine with that. I mean, I didn't think I threw
That bad.
that terrible.
Maybe he
And
puts with the Berg.
Those are some
10
of the.
down was mind blowing. It was 9 or 10. I can't remember the, but it was like 9 or 10 down. It was just
That's crazy.
I couldn't even conceive of something like that.
Looked like it was a pretty close battle between Old Harless and Sean Groton.
Oh yes, they were
Shout out
Going
to Sean
back and
Groton,
forth.
former guest of the podcast, owner of Nashville Disc Golf Store.
designer of all these courses that I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like round 1, 2 strokes apart. Had Harless at 57 and Sean at 59.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, what was par?
61.
61. So that's under par. And then 3 strokes behind Sean fell in the second round. So 112, 117 total. That's still, man. And Sean's a hell of a golfer as well, which is impressive considering how busy he is with other endeavors.
Conditions ended up being perfect, though. I mean, it warmed up. It got sunny in the end of the day. Almost no wind, which is unheard of at this time in those courses because there's so much elevation change.
Golf course.
So
wide
the
open.
scores really went down the second round because I shot way better the second round. The ratings, my second round rating was horrible. I shot 4 strokes better, and I think my rating was 40 points worse than the
wow.
first round. Yeah, I've never seen anything like it. It was unreal.
Something's not right about that.
Yeah, it's just because everyone shot so much better the second round
Okay.
that I didn't shoot better enough. I mean, it was
I
just,
gotcha.
it was
All right, Rodney.
yeah, for lack of better terms, yeah, I was stunned when I saw that.
I saw Sean's name as the tournament director for the event. Did you get a break and just get to play?
Yeah, right.
Man, you better be getting some credit on the PDGA website, bro. You better tell him he's slipping.
Right. Nah, we good.
So between home brewing,
I wasn't trying to start a
And
fight
disc
or
golf.
anything. Sean, we love you.
where does the heavy metal fit in? Or are you still doing that?
The bands. No, we have not played in quite a few years. Again, kids. They're my friends. The drummer has 2 kids. Guitarist, singer has 3 kids. So, yeah, and they're all older now. That's
Gotcha.
the thing, you know. So, yeah. I mean, we talk about it every once in a while. My metal bands are all done. This is my more like post-hardcore band with friends of people. The guitarist is one. I've known him since middle school.
Yeah.
So that one we never really break up. We're just on extended hiatus type of thing. But yeah, the metal bands, I've had opportunities to go back and play, but it's not that I don't like the music or anything else. I'm just kind of done with the drama.
No, I understand that.
Bands and drama are just, it's a lot.
That can be even worse than disc golf drama.
Disc golf, any sport, really, drama.
And
What do you think about that? Will?
and my the one guitarist I used to play in a couple metal bands with, just an amazing guy, an amazing guitarist, just passed away. I want to say a month and a half, 2 months ago.
Oh, man, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, just a severe heart attack. Just
Sudden.
Unexpected, out of the blue ones.
yeah, and I just talked to him, reestablished some contact with him and stuff, and man, it was pretty hard.
Life is a biatch.
It
Yep.
sucks, man. The older you get, the more the more used to people dying you get. It seems
I don't know
like.
if you ever get
Yeah.
you get used to it. Is that what,
I feel like and then like to me, it's gotten to a point where like I'll go to a funeral or something like that, and I don't feel like I'm as emotionally impacted as I should be, and like I almost feel guilty for it.
yeah.
But it's just for the last, I mean, really 5 to 10 years, it's been like one person right after the other that I know personally, and it's it sucks, but man, I mean, I think that's just the way
yeah, that's true.
the way of life.
I get what you're saying.
I will say this one hit me harder than before most, but this is the first unexpected
Yeah.
death I've had to really endure since I was a kid. Probably all the other deaths in my family and people I knew already had something going on. So when they finally passed, it wasn't unexpected. It might have been earlier than we thought, but it wasn't an unexpected, occurrence.
Didn't rock your world.
This one was just, man was fine, and then he was gone.
Yeah.
So that was something I had personally, oddly enough, bucked the odds of never having to occur with somebody really close to me.
Yeah.
And that it hit me a lot harder than I thought it would.
Did you never know when
And
that?
it
sorry
still
for your loss, man.
Still does when I
I'm
think
sure,
about it,
man.
because even though we weren't like tight right now or at the time, it didn't mean that we
Weren't
still
at some
weren't.
point.
Yeah, it just kind of life went, different. He was still, in the music and stuff, and I kind of stepped away.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, it's kind of funny. Not really funny in a way, but it's just always interesting to figure out, which ones of those hit you harder than others.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's totally unexpected.
So.
But yeah, still, man, I will say the greatest high I've ever had is playing live, though.
Oh yeah, there's
For
nothing
me,
like
there's
it.
nothing. I mean, some people shy away from it. It's not their thing. Yeah, I hate recording. I'm not precise enough of a bass player to love recording and the whole aspect of it. But damn, do I love playing live.
Yeah.
I mean, it is like the greatest thing for me. I just eat that shit up. Yeah.
How long has it been since you performed?
That's a great question. I want to say it's probably been about 5 years, 6 years. It has been a minute. Played a lot for about 10 years. Played quite a bit in many different bands. Like the one constant was my band No Party, the post-hardcore band. I was always in that, and then I was in, I think 1, 2, 3, 4 other bands, sometimes at the same time. Like I played a lot of shows where I'd play in both bands. Those were the best. You figure I'd be worn out and everything else, but man, I got to be on stage for extra time.
Yeah.
Living on the adrenaline.
Oh yeah, and 2 totally different bands usually, because my No Party band could fit with almost anyone because it's loud. It's not necessarily heavy. It's just loud and annoying. So
Right.
it's kind of music that you either love or like, what the fuck is this? I'm out.
But you remember it.
Yeah, you were talking about that shitty band that was out there that drove you outside. Yeah, at Springwater or the End or whatever, you were chilling outside while this horrible band was out opening up for these other guys. But yeah, that was us. There was no in between.
Yes, sir. Man, every town has those venues too, where it's just a bunch of local bands. I think ours was called the Brick House
Nice.
in Charleston, and we used to go there, and it was like no matter who was playing, what kind of music they played, every night some local group of kids fresh out of high school signed up and played Blind Melon covers. Like it was ridiculous.
Man,
Nothing wrong
People
with some
throwing
Brian
shit
Mellon.
at them.
just as long as you don't have to listen to No Rain, the rest of their catalog is amazing.
Right. Yeah, that one's kind of
Brilliant band.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, not
But
taking
yeah.
anything away from Blind Melon. Just saying, the Blind Melon cover band experience is.
Oh, it can't be
It's
good.
a little rough.
Yeah, they're not Shannon Hoon. It's got to be bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Speaking of music, I mean that's one thing that's been hugely impacted, especially for us here in Nashville.
Oh.
I mean, nobody can play music. There's nothing
Tremendously, and most, especially non-superstar bands, the way they make a living is
going on.
touring.
Their live shows.
Yeah, because you don't make shit off of albums. Not that honestly they ever really did, to be honest.
Yeah.
Especially middling
Doors and
bands.
merch have always been the moneymaker.
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah.
And now that's just done. And all the people that support them, the lighting people, the sound people, and all them. I mean, yeah, those are the ones that me and Kelda, always talk about that we really feel for. Because those, I mean, the hardworking musicians, I mean, they're just Ubering or doing Uber driving or whatever just to get through till it's done. They can start up again.
My sister, man, she's been out of work. She normally is touring around the country and the world and in Europe and all that stuff. And
What does she do?
She's a musician.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Erin Ray. And she normally is always on the road and home for just a couple weeks at a time.
Right.
But she's been doing virtual stuff, and she's been doing a couple showcases that have been live streamed and doing things like that here and there. But there's really not much going around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A bunch of local musicians got together and put together a cookbook of like favorite family recipes.
Nice.
And it was called Out of Time, like the herb.
Mm-hmm.
And but it was like just recipes from the Nashville. It was like recipes from the quarantine or from the grounded Nashville music industry.
Nice.
So they did something like that. But other than that, I mean, when we've got people in our disc golf community too. Chris Harris is a guitarist in a band. I forget the name of the girl that he plays with, but lots of people. I mean, Eric Heineken is a guitar tech, and
there's way more than you even know.
Eric Kozlowski. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
it's
tons.
Nashville, man.
Yeah.
Like so many people are in some way, shape, or form in the music industry here.
Yeah.
I know so many people that play disc golf that are either like guitar techs when they go out on tour and have small bands themselves, or roadies, or just do studio work. A lot of studio musicians I know.
Yeah. And that was one of the first things that I really kind of learned that I didn't know about Nashville after I moved here, was all the people that do just session work.
Yes.
They call them, they call them the A players in Nashville.
Oh, because they're sick playing. Yeah.
I remember right after I moved here, because I moved here in December, and my dad invited us, me and my friend, to go to Christmas dinner at his buddy Troy's house. And I had no idea what to expect, but like we roll into Green Hills and into this giant house, and lining the halls are all these like gold and platinum records and Brooks and Dunn and all this Alan Jackson and all this stuff. And this guy's a session player. That's all he'd ever done. Huge, awesome house. Really quick, funny side note. My dad was asked to say grace, so we all sit down and hold hands. My dad somehow ended up at the head of the table, and Troy asked him to say grace. So everybody gets silent as still could be, and holds hands, and goes. And my dad goes, "Lord, thanks, amen." And like the entire table, it's like this long table full of people. Everybody kind of went,
Classic, instant classic.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, that was it. But no, anyway, he invited me to go sit in on a session. Like
Nice.
Him and a couple other guys that got together to produce this song that was written by somebody, and that somebody wasn't there, and it was just, and I got to see the number system, the Nashville number system, like like firsthand, where it's just the signals are, and everybody just knows they've never played this piece of music before. They like warm up a couple chords and then just start recording. This dude showed up, big old barrel-chested gray beard, case of Coors Light, shows up, sits down, starts pounding beers, goes in there and starts singing, and he was just amazing. But I just watched like, wow. And just like that. And it was like maybe 30, 40 minutes, and they had the song done. And they walked out, "Hey, good to see you guys, blah, blah, blah." I mean, but God, you probably can't even be doing much of that right now without COVID testing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So those guys are probably grounded too.
Yeah. It's
Possibly,
kind
yeah.
of crazy.
Because they're not in there with a lot of the, the stars they're playing. All the stuff
You can
before in there.
distance with that,
and they go
just
in there
based on where the
like by
equipment
themselves
is.
and everything. So yeah, they probably are not as busy as they were before.
Oh yeah.
But they are probably still doing some work.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, that kind of behind the scenes stuff. I mean, everybody's been able to get creative, and you talk about this is another dead horse that we kick a lot on the podcast, but the boost in or the quick boon in technology, like in all the different ways that we're able to do stuff virtually. I mean, now you've got Patreon, so a lot of these grounded musicians can put out digital content and interact with their fans virtually, and their fans are supporting them through Patreon. So, I mean, it's one of those things where, it really sucks, but it's kind of like perfect timing.
I'm surprised somebody's using like big parking lots, keep you in your car, but you can still listen to the music, something like that.
Stand-up comedians are doing shows at drive-in movie theaters.
I have seen that.
I've
They
seen
set up
some
like
drive-in stuff.
little pods with you have your little group of people here and then another one over here.
Yeah.
I saw like the Dave Chappelle special one was like that.
Yep.
It was pretty awesome.
It's not a bad idea though, Marcus. Using a big parking lot, and maybe do some music.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, look at all the empty parking lots you've got, like the old
Sure.
Sam's Club that used to be right across the street from my house. There's a gigantic empty parking
I
lot.
will
over
say-
there.
Yeah, what are they doing up there though? The police use that for something now, don't they?
Do they?
Hey, I've seen them
Maybe
going
training
up there
their
all the time.
canines or something?
Yeah, I think something because I see them go up in and out of there all like when they come in.
I know guys go up there late at night and do donuts and shit because I hear it from my house.
No, you don't.
Sorry, I didn't mean to drop a dime.
I have a feeling.
Stitches
You
get
don't,
stitches.
you don't talk about Sam's Club.
I think a lot.
First rule of Sam's Club.
I have a feeling that the main reason probably that isn't happening is one of the big things that how people earn money at those places is beer and liquor sales.
Yeah.
That is to hold those events. It's not so much the
music.
door. Yeah, it goes to the bands. So
I mean, you can get a margarita to go from a Mexican place now.
that's true.
Which is weird.
Dude, you can get beer to go from Hattie B's. Like a lot of places are doing beer now.
Mm-hmm.
The
That
one
was
aspect
awesome.
though is
But
I
dude,
wonder
like
what
a
kind of
margarita.
legal-
Wait, a margarita to go. Seriously,
I've gotten it from.
seriously. No,
Yeah, the first time I heard
what's
that,
better
that's-
than a margarita to go?
I know, right?
Probably nothing.
I mean, in Arkansas, and this is no joke, man, you can pull up to a drive-through liquor store and order a drink, and they'll make it for you, and they'll put a plastic lid on it, just like that Yeti, and you are 100% golden to drive home. Just don't stick a straw.
I wonder if they had to jump through any kind of legal hoops to be able to do that.
I don't know. It's Arkansas, man. It's
Well,
like,
I mean, I'm just saying.
they do a lot of weird stuff there.
Specifically
That's a
for
pretty weird
here,
thing.
for what we're talking, like
Sure.
margarita to go, beer to go, like that kind of thing. I wonder if they had to go, or if it's just like, if like government was basically like, well, you know,
I'm surprised there's not
weird
that
stuff
many-
going on. You just go on ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. I would assume. I mean,
Because that's not typically allowed. That's like
No,
a
it's
New
not.
Orleans thing.
That
Yeah,
seems, yeah.
Yeah.
it's a very different place.
Vegas.
It's like people
But
go to New Orleans, they're like, dude, you can carry your beer outside.
But on Sundays,
It is
Dude,
bananas.
I'm
can't
drinking
buy-
the beer outside of the building.
Right?
You
Whoa.
can't buy anything, beer or liquor, on Sundays. Period, all day long.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
If you're close to the border, you drive over to Oklahoma and get your beer, because you can't buy liquor on Sundays in Oklahoma, but you can buy beer. But it's 3% because it's on Indian reservations, so it's less alcohol. In the
It's
can.
like that all over the West and
You
the
know, we're
Southwest
so
too.
close to Kentucky before, Nashville sold liquor
Yeah.
on, Sundays. You could drive to Kentucky,
You
Yeah.
get it?
Yeah.
get liquor.
You just have to know the old guy that makes it.
Hey,
That's like
I
in
know a few of those.
No, man.
in Florida. When I went to Florida State out of high school, and we had to go to Thomasville, Georgia, to get any liquor over like Bacardi 151 was the strongest thing you can have in Florida. There's no Everclear or anything.
Gotcha.
So to get that, you had to drive to Thomasville, Georgia. It's about a half hour north, and then you could go buy it there. You also couldn't get 40s because in Florida, the largest bottle you can get beer in is a quart. So my friends always wanted. They come back from like some other state and like just a truck full of 40s, and I'm like, yeah, but that's just more shitty beer because they don't put good beer into a 40.
Answer me this. What is malt liquor? Like, is that beer or is that like a mix, some kind of mix? As I've always been
That's a
curious,
gold star question there,
because
Jay.
It is a good
it looks
question.
like beer, tastes somewhat like beer, but it's not called beer. So I've always just been curious.
It is 100% shitty beer.
Okay.
They're
it is-
churching it up, son.
It is no. Well, it's literally just shitty. It's old beer laws. Because you always like how we here just up until a few years ago,
Yeah.
beer here was defined as anything 7.1% and below.
Okay.
Anything higher, you had to sell in a liquor store.
Okay.
So it goes back to old school beer laws that because malt liquor was stronger.
Okay.
So the only way they could get away with selling it is by not calling it beer. If I'm getting the stories right, but so it's something different. But that's why it's
Gotcha.
malt liquor, because it's made out of malt, barley malt, and it was stronger than beer, so liquor.
Boom.
There's
There's your gold star answer.
Boom. I
and
learned
back
something
then-
today. I love it.
They weren't making good strong
Whiffle-ball
beer. So
first.
there could have been good
whiffle-ball?
malt liquor.
Whiffle-
Wiffle ball
liquor?
and malt liquor. That's good, clean American fun right there.
If they ain't American, by God, I don't know what is.
I will say, when we were in college, there was a malt liquor of choice that we did drink.
Red Dog.
No, that was just a beer, but I remember
Mickey's, baby.
Is it
Mickey's.
Schlitz?
It was Mickey's Ice specifically. Because
Mickey's Ice,
and here's the reason
Sounds
it
terrible.
wasn't vomitous like a lot of like Hurricane and
Slurricane?
King Cobra.
King Cobra.
Yeah, these were some brutal
This guy
ones.
really knows his
Magnum.
beers.
There's the
Oh,
Magnum.
Magnum. This one, St. Ides. I remember St. Ides. That one actually
Oh,
wasn't terrible.
dude.
That one wasn't terrible compared to the others.
Do you
But
remember back in the day? Let's see, the age check. Seagram Special Brew.
Seagram Special. I did
Shit
not know
tasted
that.
like Kool-Aid. Is what we used to drink in high school.
Shit ain't so.
It was basically like the cheerleader beer of the '90s.
No, I do remember Boone's Farm.
Yeah, we did that too.
Strawberry
We did
Hill?
that too, yeah.
Oh,
Strawberry
and
Hill.
the Mad
You know,
Dog,
I've never
the-
had that, but I know
you
the name.
serious?
I know that name. Like,
Oh,
Boone's
the
Farm,
2020.
Strawberry Hill. I've seen it so many
and
times.
2020.
Because like I was like big into wine,
Hangover.
and I'm like,
You remember that? Zima? When that
Zima?
first
Oh
came
my
out?
Zima.
Zima's.
Zima. Clear beer.
Yep.
Dude, I had a friend.
Horrible.
My parents had a friend back in the day when I was a kid. His name was Zoma.
Zoma.
And they used to always drink Zimas. Of
course.
And I would make so much fun of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was
I
the
would've
worst
too.
shit.
Oh, yeah.
We tried to like it.
yeah.
I mean, because it wasn't citrusy. It was like caught in
No, it
between
was-
malty and citrusy, which is
It was bad.
it's not a middle section
Yeah,
you want
it's
to
like-
be in.
It's like the Fresca of beer.
It's not even close to
You know,
being
it's
that
like
good.
if you took
Put some
beer
vodka
and
in
put it
some
in
Fresca.
soda water, like the stuff that comes out, the
Yeah,
clear
yeah.
liquid out of soda machines. It's
Yeah.
like that.
It
with beer.
was. I remember they came out with it again a couple years ago, and I'm like, oh yeah, and I'm like, oh, let me try one of these things. See if
Still,
it
just
was
as bad.
it was just as shit. It was because your palate's a little even better now because it's so much better beer. It seems so much worse. But I'm like, no,
Oh,
this
but it
is how
was.
shitty it was back then. Because they came out
believe
with a citrusy one, like Citrix, I think it was called. That was a lot. That was late. That was better. But by then it was doomed. It was already
Yeah.
that craze for a moment was done.
It's done and over with.
Yeah, the reputation was so done.
The area where I grew up in West Virginia, the closest liquor store was like 45 minutes away. But we had this old guy that would show up. I remember him as a kid, and then as a young adult and a late teenager. But the dude would show up in an old beat up pickup truck, and you see those movies or pictures of how they used to deliver milk in those big wooden crates.
Yeah,
He would have those in the back of his truck with mason jars full of moonshine in them.
nice.
Like ball jars full of moonshine. Different flavors. He'd have peach and strawberry and blackberry and all this different stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But he was like on pre-order system, so you would just call
Kentucky
him
apple pie.
out. He lived up the holler, as they say in West Virginia.
Yeah.
He lived up the holler. So you call up the holler about a week ahead, and you say, I'm going to get this much of this much of this. And he'd
Bring
drive
it right
around
down to
one
you?
day.
I used to
make
have
the county round.
I used to have a true moonshine hookup. I would trade beer for moonshine,
Yeah.
homebrew for moonshine.
Well, if you ever are in the need, and I might know people. I might. I don't know.
I still
knows?
could probably get some. I just usually got moonshine for other people because that wasn't my thing.
I mean, it just depends. If
Never
you're
had
drinking straight moonshine, I mean,
The White Lightning.
Does that Gatlinburg stuff count?
no. When you
No?
buy moonshine at a liquor store, it is not
Oh, come
moonshine.
That's yes. If you
It's true.
if
Nowhere
you
near
buy anything that has the moonshine label on it,
It ain't moonshine.
it's just vodka.
Or
Does it have to be like in a mason jar?
PGA,
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah,
Somewhere between vodka and PGA.
Because the whole moonshine is the illicit brewing or distilling
of the
of
liquid.
beer of wort.
Right.
Basically, it's of beer.
Because you had to deliver it at night.
Yeah,
And it's
so
tax-free.
Once it's legal, it's called either whiskey or moonshine, but
Make
it's not.
it at night.
It's they call it corn whiskey, but the thing
Yeah.
is, whiskey has to be aged through charcoal and everything else. So
Yeah.
I get in this argument all the time because they love to label things, but to me, when I've had the moonshine that you buy, it's just vodka.
Well, it's
'Cause-
not as strong as regular moonshine either.
No,
Most
it's like 80
moonshine's
proof. It's like 80, 90 proof. It's just vodka.
It's just vodka. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
The
I mean,
mason jars.
except for it's
Yeah.
not made from potatoes. Minus that. A lot
You
of
can
it's
make
not made-
vodka from literally anything.
Yeah,
Well,
for sure.
yeah, you
Tito's is
can.
made from corn.
yeah.
Most vodka is actually made from wheat.
I didn't know that.
And yeah, you can make. I mean, you
Vodka.
can make it from any sugar. You can
I
make
don't
it, you
drink
can
that
technically
stuff. I
make it
drink-
from table
I drink
sugar if you
whiskey.
want.
That's it.
It's basically fusel alcohol. It's just you just kill your taste buds if you try and drink something made out of table sugar. But you can.
Yeah. So the old guy, he would make these little handwritten receipts, and he would have a little rough count on this little scrap of paper, and he would write corn liquor, but it was spelled Likker.
Yeah. There
Corn
you
liquor.
go.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's a good time for a break.
I need some coffee in my life.
Everybody get a drink, go potty. We'll come back and get back to the fun. I was going to beatbox, but I won't do it without Dr. Hoyt here.
Nice.
What's up, guys? We're back.
Yo.
It's an exciting break.
Very exciting.
What were you guys talking about?
How cold it was.
I was lamenting
Jealous.
the cancellation of the putting league.
Sounds
Anything
like
you'd like to share with
somebody's
the class?
jealous. He wasn't in on the
Yeah.
conversation up here.
Yeah, well, I'd just like to check in. Yeah, the cancellation of the putting league is also a bummer.
Yeah.
We did look into it. Dr. Hoy sent numerous emails to Little Harpeth. We were going to try to do it with masks and some strict regulations on the indoor activity and all that stuff, but no response from Little Harpeth. I know that their property did get hit by the tornadoes that happened in March.
Right.
And I know Devin Pena, that was the booking guy there that we've always worked with. He's no longer with them.
Mm.
And we never did get a response anyway. So got to talking about it and then trying to find another venue. And, you know, I want to say props to Ed and Kim Birdie. Flying Colors has been doing well with their putting league that they're running in Murfreesboro, I think at Mayday.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mayday Brewing. And I've seen live streams from that, and everybody's wearing masks and stuff. I think if we were to do it, I think people would really get tired of having to putt with masks on inside, and especially if they're cranking the heat because it's cold out. And I think it could get bothersome, and then it would be really hard to enforce. You'd have to constantly be griping at people, and it's one thing if you're at a tournament and you're outside and you tell people they got to wear a mask if they come to Tournament Central or something like that.
It would be difficult, no doubt.
But yeah, and then again, like we said about the banquet, at the end of the day, it's all about, in the interest of just keeping everybody safe. We don't want to end the year,
Oh, absolutely.
you know, getting somebody sick. And so, yeah, it's definitely a loss because that's one of our favorite things that we do every year.
Yep.
That and the banquet. I mean,
Right.
strange times we're living in, for sure. What's your favorite dish, Justin?
Haha, nice.
Segue.
Eat of a shark.
And of a shark. Shark. We're going to need a bigger boat.
Right.
Why the shark?
That is a really good question, honestly, because people think because I've been playing so long, I've been throwing the shark the whole time. I actually didn't discover the amazing abilities of the shark until just a few years ago, to be honest with you. I'm trying to think what mid-range I threw a lot. I'm not sure if I threw a lot of mid-range for a long time because I never liked the rock. It took me years to figure out that I can't throw a disc with a bead. But I didn't throw a lot of mid-range for a while. I threw a lot of fairway drivers and putters. I would throw my putters basically as mid-range. And for, I want to say at least 12 to 15 years I putted with a blowfly.
Oh, dude, I used to bag one of those.
I was straight spin putt, just putted with a blowfly all day. And kind of got the yips with it and missed left, right all day. Couldn't hit chains to save my life. And watched some videos of Feldberg and Wysocki push putting. And just practiced out in my backyard with different discs. I think my first disc that I settled on for putting, push putt, was Soft Harp.
Okay.
And bagged that for a good 9 months. And then got tired of the rollaways. When you putt with a really overstable putter, hits the ground, sucker just doesn't want to stop rolling.
Especially with soft plastic because they just kind of bow and then stand back up and roll.
And I was used to blowfly. When it hits, it just stops. You know, it doesn't. The rollaways are very rare comparatively, and that thing was just always taking off on me. So then I started with a Gateway War Spear, which is also overstable, but not as overstable. But it still has kind of the dip, little thumb track thing in there. Loved that one for a while. And then went to 2016 Ledgestone. And I was already bagging sharks for mid-range by then. I can't remember how or why they made it in my bag, but one of the things was I was already bagging some like 180 DX sharks because I was throwing them pretty good and nice and straight. I was throwing, they were just dead straight. And then Mikey McDaniel, it had to be like 2015, 24. Yeah, I think was he still president of the club at that time? I want to say. I know he's doing the ambassador thing
in
still.
2015, yeah, probably 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
He
Makes sense.
gave me. He had this cool shark because he knew I was throwing them at that time. He gave me a cool double stamp 150 DX shark had a Valkyrie stamp, so I always called it the Sharkery. And
Clever.
that thing, it was the first time I'd thrown a 150 shark. I was just like, oh, God, this thing's going to flip. First time I threw it was hole 14 off the tee. And I just as a gag, threw it on just a slight hyzer, it flipped to flat, and just soared all the way past the 15's tee pad and just settled in the middle. And I'm just like, I looked back and everyone's like, that was a good shot. I'm like, whoa, what just happened?
I think you let me throw your 150 shark one day.
Oh, I usually make somebody.
And I was
throw it.
like, that's really stable.
Crazy because everyone thinks it's going to flip. And it's like, as long as you don't throw it 100%, it's actually straight to overstable until you destroy it, obviously. But people are just always trying to rip. If you throw any mid-range 100%, you messed up.
Yeah.
It's not what you do. But, yeah, and I was addicted after that, with the one, especially with the 150s. And then I went to Ledgestone 2016, and it was super windy. I was at the... What course was I at? We were practicing. Me and my buddy went up there. We were practicing at all the courses, and we got to Sunset Hills, the golf course one the FPO just played all on. And it was super windy, and so I had a stack of sharks in my bag, and just started putting with them. And I was push putting by then and everything. And they were just soaring in there, just gliding right in the basket. I mean, I was hitting 50 footers like nobody's business in practice, and it was like. And I told my buddy who I was there with, I'm like, and he's the one who got me back into it, the one from Huntsville. So we did a road trip there, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna put with the Sharks. He just looked at me, he's like, you're gonna play this tournament and you're gonna put with a Shark. I'm like, yeah, why not? So I did, and my putting was out of this world. Like I was hitting 50, 60 footers. The only problem with that story is that I was hitting 50 and 60 footers to save bogey and double bogeys. Couldn't get off the tee to save my life. But the putting was crazy, so never stopped. I've been putting with Sharks ever since. Now, at the time I was putting with the 150s. The only reason I ended up stopping at that time was because of our Prodigy basket addiction for a while.
Oh, yeah.
And you put with a 150 putter, and you hit dead center on a Prodigy basket.
AKA a brick wall.
It ain't gonna stick. It ain't gonna stick. It's coming right back at your face. On the T1s anyway. The T2s are actually pretty stinking good. Like they got at Horton. There ain't no problem with those. But man, those T1s, you ain't putting with no 150 plastic.
I mean, some of the ones on the T1s, even strong side hyzer putters were having difficulty getting to stay.
Even now, strong side, it'll hit, bounce, over.
Yeah.
Almost soul crushing. But
some of them are.
So I started putting with the 180 Pro Sharks. I got a Pro Shark from the end of a pro shop. I found they found an old supply, I guess, because I ordered one. I saw it on there. I ordered one, and I immediately knew that was not new Pro plastic.
Yeah.
This is some like mid 2000s style stuff. It was all chalky. I mean, it was like, holy crap, what box did they find this? So then I order a 10. I ordered 10, all of them the same. So I order 15 more. And the funny thing is, I get a call the next day after I ordered the 15 from the shop guy there at the pro shop. And he's like, did you mean to order 15 more Pro Sharks? I was like, yeah, why, you guys out? He goes, oh, no. We just saw that you ordered 11 more already, and we're just making sure you didn't mess up. And I'm like, oh, you don't have a big demand for Pro Sharks? Jokingly, of course. We just started laughing. And I was like, no, I absolutely want them. That's absolutely my favorite one. And I feel like, basically controlling the market. I'm going to have them all. And I have a lifetime supply because I know even if they make more Pro Sharks, it ain't going to be that plastic.
It's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that 15, I believe 10 or 11 of them was that plastic. And then they were obviously out of those. And it was either the new ones or it was a DX in there. And, yeah. So I was like, okay, I got them all.
Yeah, it settles it for your in
I
your
now
mind.
have them all.
I have them all. Gotta catch them all.
And my OG Pro Shark that I putted with, it was another funny story at our Shelby Lake tournament. We did a ace pot throw off, and I threw my shark. Left out. Somebody brought it back, set it on the table with us while I'm counting up scores and doing the payout and everything. Clean up, sucker's gone. Somebody snagged it off the table. I mean, it wasn't one of those things where, I left it somewhere. Somebody literally stole it off the table.
Dang.
So a year and a half. So I had to break in a new one. Luckily, I have another one. And so I broke a new one in. It took a little while, but I broke another one in. Cool and everything. I'm at Ogwood. And, people know I throw a shark. And they're like, oh, look at this cool shark I got from a buddy. And I saw it. I'm like, dude, that is awesome. Put it right in my bag. It was my OG shark. And I felt bad for the guy because I knew he didn't steal it because I knew everyone who was at that tournament.
Sure.
And he wasn't there.
Right.
I can't say his friend isn't the one. But at that point, I did not care. I got my disc back.
Exactly.
I did give him a brand new Pro Shark that he actually wanted, better.
Well, good. Yeah, it all works out.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I have plenty of extras, so.
The universe has a way of unfolding
take one.
as it should.
Don't take Justin Sharks.
I'll get you one.
I'll take one.
I'll get you one.
Yeah.
Are you also a shark thrower?
I know about the extra little notch on the rim of the shark.
Yeah, I did see you guys talking about that a little while ago. That was pretty funny. That was cool.
That was the first mid
Farm
I ever
Fresh.
had.
You guys were talking about with Farm Fresh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the weird thing is, it's not the best feeling disc in my hand.
Yeah.
I tried for a while to get away from the shark. I knew I was stuck on it and everything. I'm like, so I tried every mid-range out there. The Mako, to me, Mako 3 feels like the best feeling disc in my hand. I cannot throw it for shit.
I've got two aces on Makos.
Yeah. There's another great horrible.
Mako 3s.
I have a horrible ace story.
Uh-oh.
Is there such a thing?
I have none.
Oh, that is a horrible story.
23 years of throwing discs, and I have absolutely 0 aces.
Not even a practice ace that nobody saw?
Nope.
You're going to have to start going out and playing at Ethan Page, bro.
I know.
All right, Ethan Page for sure.
None.
Well, I haven't had one in like 2 years, so
It's been a little while.
Yeah.
Dude, I would spend every day at Ethan Page just so I could pop my cherry.
Right. I should.
Yeah.
It's a great little course.
Kane, you could do it.
we can do it together.
Easy.
I need to go to Ethan Page and play it.
Yeah, I haven't played
That's
it
a
either.
fun course.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I haven't been out there yet.
I will say it could be so much better if they just move the baskets 10 or 15 left or right.
Yeah.
There's too many exactly dead straight same shots. They don't have to make them longer. Just 10 or 15 feet left or right, so you actually have to shape these short little shots.
Yeah.
Would honestly make it better even for beginners. So they have to learn how to just angle their throws a little more.
Gotcha.
Not all of them, but like out of the 11 shots that are exactly arrow straight, change 5 or 6 of them left or right, and then that would be amazingly better. Like that would make it world difference of that course.
Yeah. For sure, a better training ground.
Oh, absolutely. But
Because that's what those kind of courses are great for. Is
sure.
when people come in the store and they're talking about getting their wives or girlfriends or kids into it, I always send them there. I'm like, they're like, oh yeah, we're going to go, to Crockett or Seven Oaks or something. Like, those are good. I was like, but if you really want them to get addicted to the game, take them to Ethan Page. Because they won't have to they won't be intimidated by somebody who throws 400 feet.
Sure.
Because that does you no good there.
Right.
And even when you suck, you can throw 70 feet, which will get you there in 2 throws.
Right.
Which will get you your par. And so they feel like they can make par every time just about. And that's huge for somebody's confidence and addiction to the game, is just being able to throw pretty much as far as everyone else, because their throwing far does not matter.
Right.
So, yeah,
I agree with that.
it's a perfect course to have around.
Were you about to say something?
No, I'm in. I'm good.
I was going to say, have you been out to Trace Creek at Stevens Valley yet?
I have not.
Out here on the side of town?
No, that's one of the few local ones I have not hit. That I've never played Mundy Park either, but
I've played that a few times.
I don't think anyone probably should.
I've
They have the
heard of
in-step
it,
baskets,
but-
and no one should play on an in-step basket.
Dude, I had a really weird putt. But not even a putt. It was a throw-in from like 150 feet. I was throwing a soft judge, and it hit the chains and stopped with the inside edge suspended against the chain like that, and the rim sitting on the edge of the basket.
What?
And it just stuck like that and sat there. It was the weirdest thing ever.
That's amazing.
yeah.
In-step basket?
I guess they are. Is
Yeah.
that
Oh,
what,
yeah.
what-
They
'cause
cost like $95 brand new.
Are they put together wrong or something?
I think even when you put together right, they're wrong.
Because
That might be.
good one. No, I just remember there was something weird. Like they're too low.
Yeah, I do believe some of them are all
Well, the way
jacked up.
I used to have one, and there's 2 settings to put the basket at. One is where I don't know if they call it a beginner and an expert setting, but one where the chain actually touches the bottom of the basket, and so I guess it's supposed to, I don't know, make it tighter or make it looser so it's easier. I don't know. And then there's the second setting where it's just like a normal basket, but just by a little bit, where it's actually loose and the chain can move around. So I just know that because I used to have one of those wonderful baskets.
I did too. I gave it to Michael Holland for his disc golf club at his school.
Mine's out of old farm's house.
I do have one of probably the second worst basket ever made is the old DGA M14.
I don't know if I've ever seen one of those.
7 outer, 7 inner chains. Useless. I mean, 7 outer, it just literally you hit, go, and it just goes straight through. You might as well not have chains.
It's the basket I have.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, is it really?
Is that the one that's out there? Oh, okay.
Straight trash. I will say, I did.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, you're crazy.
You got to make perfect putts. If you don't
You
make
got to
perfect
drop
putt,
it
it's
in.
going-
You can't hit chains and it drops.
That's why I like
You have
it.
to put it in literally like you're playing basketball. You have to just
Oh, yeah.
put it in the basket. That's how you make those.
I usually just take the chains off. Just use
Isn't
the
that
putt.
how it's
You might
supposed
as
to work
well.
anyway?
You might as. I did find a way to make it actually a decent basket though. Zip tie the outer chains in, and you have your own self-made bullseye basket, and then it's actually not bad. Because I was going to get rid of mine, and then I did that just to see. I did it with duct tape first,
Yeah.
and it was like, oh, damn,
Okay.
that actually works.
Yeah, I've got a bullseye basket.
Nice. Yeah, zip tie it, and you'll have another bullseye basket, and it's actually good.
No, once enough.
Yeah, you don't need
See,
more.
I
You don't need
that in
more
my
than one.
life.
I don't always feel like punishing myself.
No, no, no.
Sometimes, but not always.
Agreed.
Whenever I do, I zip tie.
But
It involves
That's how
zip
I
ties
say
and duct tape whenever I want to punish myself.
And
will
that's
say
the
my-
completion of
That's
that
why the
conversation.
parental advisory sticker is on there.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah, Justin got us in trouble.
What's the safe word?
Pineapple.
Yeah. So one of the many things that you do at the Nashville Disc Golf Store, I know, is inventory management.
Oh yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
The love of my life.
Well, we'll start with something fun before we get into the depressing parts. But what are the hot sellers these days?
Anything with Paul Macbeth's name on it or Brody Smith's name.
Okay, after that.
Actual model of disc. I mean, the Destroyer is of non-discraft is by far the number one as always.
Yeah.
It's the name, bro. Destroyer.
Right?
It
Goodness.
It's a great name.
I
And,
need this disc in my life. It's a destroy.
And-
You can't destroy it without the destroyer, right?
I will say one of the biggest
No, you
thing
cannot.
right now, especially with new like casual players and everything else, the stamp. If you don't have an interesting stamp, it ain't gonna sell.
Yeah.
If you don't have cool artwork on it and it's a new player, they don't give a shit what it does. I mean, because you have so many discs out there that actually look cool.
You have
Why
to
would they want
catch
them to
their
look
eye.
stupid?
Yeah.
Or they don't understand.
Yeah.
So some brands are hurting because of that. Some brands are yeah, and there's some brands that are doing very well that people, I mean, that local players that play tournaments probably never even heard of. There's two in particular that are that do fairly well at the store. One is RPM out of New Zealand because they have some kick-ass tribal-looking art that is very, I guess, Kiwi-like, and
Yeah, sure.
it's pretty badass. And they have good plastic too, really good plastic. And Yikin or Yukun, I honestly cannot figure out how to say it. I've never heard anybody who pronounces it properly.
Shout out to RPM.
There's it. Yep.
There's
the
a
Kiwi. Yeah.
Yeah. Did we not have those guys on one of the guys on the show one time
I don't think so.
back in the day? Or maybe we met him somewhere.
We met. They were at Music City
Okay,
Open in
that's where they
2018.
were.
Nice. The Piwaka Waka is probably the biggest seller of them.
Yeah.
The mid-range, dead
So
straight.
One more
Stokely
time.
bag-
The Waka
bags
Waka.
Nice.
The Piwaka
Yeah.
Waka.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Um,
bagging a Piwaka Waka and a Berg, I think.
All right.
Nice. And
I
Yikin is another one, a Chinese company that actually makes Discmania's active line stuff.
Yeah.
Their artwork is outstanding. Their discs are really good. Their plastics actually they even have a couple older overmolds that are pretty badass. But yeah, those that you wouldn't think of, but it has a lot to do with their. To be honest with you, their plastic's good, and that's just lucky. A lot of it is the artwork.
Yeah. It's,
But I always try and guide them to something that because I'll get somebody who just started playing, and they'll come up there and throw a force on the table,
Right.
or a defender. I mean, I'm like, do you throw 400 feet, or do you throw all sidearm? And they're like, no, I don't have a sidearm. And I'm like, hey, you don't throw 400 feet, right? No, go put that back.
You're gonna.
I'm
hate
not
that.
gonna. Yeah, I'm not gonna let you buy that.
You're gonna hate.
They're
you're
just
gonna hate
staring
principle,
at me. Yeah,
and it's gonna teach you naughty things.
yeah, you're gonna hate the game because I'm gonna tell you that isn't gonna go 150 feet for you.
This disc has bad ideas.
And I'll guide them to something that is
slower.
much more user friendly. Yes.
Good job.
Well, that's what I think it's
your
a big
disc golf
key
future in my hands.
to disc golf and people's success in disc golf is choosing the right disc. Because how many of us know, oh, I need a driver, I need a destroyer, I need a boss, because this guy's throwing a boss, he's throwing it 450 feet. That's the way I get there.
Right, and that's a lot of
And in reality, that's where their mind goes because they're so new, they don't know any different. And then
Yep.
it's nice that you're there at the shop who's got some experience to can point them in that direction.
Right.
And, hey, I'll tell you what you're doing. I'll tell you what you need. If you really want to buy that disc, I'll sell it to you. But you're only going to end up harming yourself by doing so.
Right. Yeah, and I want them to enjoy the game. I want them to get addicted because it's an amazing sport. It's not just because I want them to buy stuff from us. I mean, that obviously is there, but it's mainly, it's an amazing sport. I mean, I've been playing for 23 years, exceedingly mediocrely, too. I mean, you see how many
I
tournaments
love that
play.
descriptor.
Yeah.
You've used that a couple times. I'm gonna steal it.
Exceedingly mediocre.
Exceedingly mediocre. It just sounds so smart. It sounds so distinguished. It sounds like shit, but it's like
It's
distinguished
like a good.
shit.
It's a good
Right.
spin on shit.
Yeah, it's like churched up shit.
Right?
Churched up shit.
Would you say that's one of your favorite parts of the job, or a part you enjoy is being able to help
Absolutely.
people like kind of find stuff that they'll like and that'll work for them?
Absolutely. Yeah, that is definitely. And then when they come back in and let me know that how perfect that disc was for them, that is a huge, great feeling. I mean, when I hear that, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad that disc I chose for you and, kind of made you buy is actually the right disc.
You're the disc whisperer.
I hope so. I try. I don't know that I always get it right. I can tell you that.
He's like Ollivander in Harry Potter. It's like the disc chooses you.
Right? Right?
Nice.
I do. Now, I kind of almost use that when people want to know what the best putter is.
Oh, that's a good way to look
'Cause
at
they're-
it.
Try them all.
Yeah, there is
Yep.
no best putter.
Yeah, they all do the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Within 35 feet, they're
putter
pretty
is
much
the
all going to
driver.
fly the same.
The best putter is your driver.
Yeah.
Right?
When you park it and just tap it in.
I'm like, here, feel this. I go to all the different companies and pretty much pick out the ones. And I'm like, first I'll go like feel the bead and feel one without the bead first. Which kind of style do you like? Okay, now let's go to plastics. Do you like the slicker ones, the stiffer ones, or you want ones that are more bendy and grippy? And they're like, yeah, I like the bendy ones. And then the funny thing is when they're like, yeah, I want the more, and then I'll hand them a blowfly, and then their mind is like, what is this?
I'm so happy you carry blowflies at the
Dude,
store.
it's
Right?
one of those
They
things that
sell
you don't
it
hear
so
about.
fast.
I didn't even know they still made them.
Oh, absolutely.
Dude, I had a blowfly and a blowfly 2 in my bag when I first started
Nice.
playing at Crockett, and I remember one of my favorite memories. It was incidentally, it wasn't long after that I stopped bagging the blowfly. I think I forget who I traded it to. But,
Me.
oh, that's right. Yeah,
I have
it was
it.
you.
I have
I
one with
gave you
Will
that.
McCaskill's name on it. Absolutely.
Wow.
I was at Crockett Park playing with Taylor Kaysen. When I first started playing, I just happened to walk up on
Wow.
hole one at Crockett, and
Yeah,
Taylor Kaysen was there. And he was just like, yeah, anytime you want to come out and play, just holler at me. I live like 5 minutes away.
Great
come out and
dude.
play. Yeah, and he rolled with me, just us two, so many times out there and taught me a lot. But I remember we had just come off hole 8 going out into the field at 9.
Yeah.
And he saw the blowfly in my bag, and he was like, man, let me see that. And he pulled the blowfly out of my bag and launched it like 400 feet down the fairway. I was like, I'm
Amazing.
not throwing that thing right.
Something's wrong.
That's sick. That's a hard disc to throw far.
Oh,
Not because it can't, because it's hard to let go of something like that properly, and when you're
Because
cribbing
it
it that
torques
hard.
so much as you're pulling
Oh,
it through. It
sure.
just goes. We're aging ourselves, but for the audience that doesn't know what a blowfly is, it's a DGA disc. It's some sort of silly rubber blend that, like
Yeah.
you say you could take like a soft putter, like a soft Wizard, not one of the stupid soft ones, or like a soft Warden or a soft Judge,
Yeah.
and you could fold it in half pretty easily.
Right.
Well, a blowfly you can fold it in half and then fold it into quarters.
Yep.
I mean,
And
you just
very
literally-
easily, and you could put it in your pocket.
And when you pop it out, it goes right back to a circle.
Somebody
Oh,
just
absolutely.
told a story. It might have been Stokely, just about somebody that was having a bad round and they grabbed up their blowfly and wadded it up into a ball and threw it at the basket like a baseball.
Matt Bell.
That was it. Okay, Matt Bell. Yeah,
Yep.
and then it flies out and okay.
Because everybody who comes in,
Call
a
it the
lot of
Spider-Man.
people.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
The web burst.
a lot of people come in have seen that video and they're like, they're kind of disappointed because the newer blowflies are much stiffer than that.
Yeah.
And you got to break them in, number one, but they are just a little bit stiffer than some of the old ones. And then I'll go to my car real quick and I'll show them mine, and I'll hold it up, and it's there. And when you hold up a blowfly right now, the new ones, they still are rigid enough to be kind of flat.
Droopy.
Mine just
like this.
droops down, and it's all kinds of warped. It feels thinner, and then I'll bend mine in half, and then I'll bend it in half again, like he said, or I'll roll it up. And they're like, well, how does it fly? I'm like, fairly overstable, actually. Mine is
The original pocket disc.
really old,
Yeah.
and it's so beat in that when it flies, it wobbles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it like literally, it doesn't like fly in a nice straight line. It literally does
got a lip.
wobble. It is even when I throw it, I'm like, it's just so weird to watch because mine is seriously jacked up, but it still flies like I want it to go.
Wow.
But my friends always call it my cheater disc because if I hit a link, it would just hit.
Oh, they
and
grab
fall in.
well.
I
Yeah.
fall down.
It is crazy. If I could still spin putt well, I mean, I would never have gone away from it. But
Sure.
They
Yeah.
drop like a stone if they touch anything.
absolutely,
They don't even skip on dirt and pine straw.
No, it's just like
Yep, that's
So a lot
mainly
of,
what I use it for now.
A lot of glow discs.
Oh yeah, when we can get them, they go quick.
Especially this time of year.
Yeah.
everybody's playing glow this year.
Yep. That's why even the tournament we just had, our disc that we gave out was a glow gator. Just because I mean, pretty much when we do a tournament disc, it's always glow now because they're harder to get, and you can get them in CFR stuff if you can get tournament discs.
Mhm.
I mean, to be honest though, we had 3 choices.
Yeah.
I mean, we trucked a bunch of manufacturers for our next tournament. Almost no one can provide them. I mean, it's crazy. Even Innova, we have 3 choices. We already used one, so we went to the next one. It was like, and those were the only 2 ones that were glow that we could use. It was like, well, all right, who else can we use? We don't want to give out the same thing every time.
Right.
So yeah, it's tough. I mean, because just there's not many manufacturers can't keep up. So I mean, it's hard. Not all of them are doing tournament discs at all. We contacted like 5, and out of the 5, 2 could even remotely
Wow.
think about it.
That's crazy right now.
Yes.
Who would have thought our sport would be running out of disc?
Right?
Yeah. With too many has always been our problem, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of you collectors need to come off your
Yeah, that's what it is too.
Yeah.
The collectors.
Well, and there's also a
Got
lot
the-
of private retailers now that are like doing very well. You know what I mean? People that are.
The collector market is bananas. That's in the break. I was talking to Marcus about it. I mean, it's caught me way off guard because I'm tech savvy. My background's more in the tech world, but these guys are. I mean, I don't have the time to follow what all these guys do, but a lot of the newer players, like I was telling him, I think come from like a Pokemon, Magic Gathering, collector card type mentality, and so they know the value of things when others may not, or the rarities of things, and they, that the value of it ascends dramatically, to where, I mean, it's things I didn't even think about before, and now the stamp that's on it, not even like the design of the stamp, literally the color of the stamp that it's done with or whatever, the design of the actual foil is what's huge now. The Wonder Bread, candy corn, money stamps, things I never. People asking me like, "Do you have any Wonder Bread stamps?" I'm like, "What is that?"
What is?
No,
I'm gonna have to ask you.
yeah.
What is a Wonder Bread stamp?
Apparently, it's like little dots that are kind of on Wonder Bread
Oh, I
bag.
gotcha.
It's kind of like that, and you have one that's the money. It's like little, I think it's $100 bills, kind of in the foil.
Okay.
Is another really popular one, and I don't think the manufacturers thought about the collector part of it. They just, we got this new cool one, and they didn't use it very often. And that's why it got value, because there was so few of them.
Gotcha.
So you got like, a Luna that had the Wonder Bread stamp was way more rare than a Luna with a Party Time stamp. And so that Luna all of a sudden was worth 3 times as much as the normal one. And it was one that just came out. It was the same Luna.
And I know that just from my relationships in the DD warehouse that like certain foils are really hard to come by,
Right.
at certain times.
Right.
And like if you have a chance to get a hold of one that's very unique, you're not going to be able to get very much of it, and you're not going to be able to get it again.
Yeah, so if you get EMAC Truth with one of those rare foils, that EMAC Truth is all of a sudden at least twice as valuable as the other one.
Yeah.
Huh.
And that's literally the only difference of the two.
Yep.
So we
And
need
that was
a s-
not the case before.
Start watching your foils.
we
Oh,
need
absolutely.
We need a stamp for the last cash.
Yeah, we do. Podcast.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
going to see if I can get Charlie to take the logo and turn it into a black and white version for a stamp.
That'd be
For a
boss.
disc.
That
What
would
kind of
make
disc
a-
would it be?
Since it's round like that, it would make a fantastic stamp. It's a
do
great
it.
logo.
We can get a logo on a wedge finally. There's never been a logo on a wedge.
A wedge.
a good
If
No,
Nova can
I don't
provide
think-
it.
Can I have a glow wedge
Ooh.
with the last cash
Ooh.
stamp on it?
You're getting greedy. You're
Yeah, I was
asking
gonna
for
say,
a
you're
lot,
asking for a
bro.
lot.
I don't think I've ever seen a wedge with a tournament stamp or a
It never
CFR
has,
stamp. I don't know if they've ever offered it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Maybe they should.
Missing out.
Yeah.
I
They
mean,
don't know what
like,
they're missing.
It's cool, like to have any disc with our stamp on it. I think
Oh yeah, for sure.
so.
Discs and shirts. That's the first order of business. Once
The
we
last
start.
tournament we just did, it was the first stamp I designed.
Yeah.
I didn't mean for it to be either. I just did it as a mock-up,
Yeah.
just to give to an actual artist to see what they could do. And then Sean was like, "Oh, so we're gonna do shirts now too?" And I'm like, "Wait, what?"
Let's see it.
I was like, "No, it's not that good." He goes, "No, I love it."
Let's see it.
Okay.
Where's it?
I have some discs in the car I should have brought up, but it's on the disc golf scene for the tournament site for the Country Hills Thriller.
All right.
It's, not all original artwork. Let's just say that.
Gotcha.
I literally drew none of it.
Gotcha.
Shameless plug for a former guest. If you guys are familiar with Disc Golf Examiner, their guy Brian Bowman has a series that he has on YouTube called Plastic Picasso, highlighting artists making disc artwork.
Nice.
Check that out if you guys are interested.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Were you able to find it?
Yeah.
Hold it up. I want to see.
It's very simple.
That's it.
Yep.
Yep.
Very simple.
Oh, dude, that's dope though.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah, that's great.
Migos too.
That would look great, like as a bar stamp or a corner stamp.
Yeah.
Sure.
Very dope.
It reminds me of like Michael Jackson for some reason.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
it
sure.
does. For
You really kind of played on that.
Oh, there's
Very
a specifically very good reason why it does.
I just didn't want to say anything. I was like, I don't want to get us in trouble.
I drew nothing.
So without giving any trade secrets away, how do you walk that tightrope between supply and demand? I mean, how do you in a timely fashion respond to what people are buying before it's all gone?
During COVID is totally different. I mean, it is because the supply you have no control over the supply whatsoever. I don't even get what I order. I mean, I order discs and I'm happy to get what I get.
Mm-hmm.
Different manufacturers have different ways of ordering as well, so it all affects it a little bit differently. But yeah, it's you pretty much just hope. You order and you hope, really.
Yeah.
And like I said, some manufacturers are better about giving you a heads up on what they're coming with, and everything else. Sometimes we find out late, and it's very frustrating. And then some things they don't release to us at all. Like they cut out the middleman and they release it themselves. That's tough.
Yeah.
There's nothing we can do about that. I mean, I understand why they would. And some companies are better about valuing the retailer than others. I mean, Trilogy is one that's amazing, to be honest with you. Dynamic Disc is, they do more for the retailers than most of the others. So yeah, I mean, there's others that don't give a crap about us, and when we do the best we can.
Well, even DD, I think when the retailer, like the private retailer flipping kind of stuff, scalping really
Right.
started happening, I think Dynamic Disc was one of the first companies that really caught a lot of flack because they would announce a new release and it would be, people would have them in their cart 5 minutes after they went live and they'd go to check out and they'd be gone. And then you'd see them start popping up on the auction sites selling for $60, $70, $80, $90
Right.
for a $20 disc. And that caused a bunch of feedback and
Right.
static. But then
Oh,
now you see it with everybody. Then it moved on into Discmania with the Cloud Breakers and all that stuff. And Nate Perkins is making a really good living right now selling all of his Night Strikes. I mean, it's those limited runs. That's just an issue with the market. Do you see that changing anytime soon? I mean, with the manufacturers having a hard time keeping stuff in stock.
I was going to say, the big problem is, I mean, it's the demand obviously is way up. The problem is with their manufacturing sites and everything, they have to social distance in the factory, and so their skeleton crew working, trying to make more discs than they ever have with less people than they ever have, and it's just not possible. So they're picking and choosing on what they're making. So a lot of the meat and potatoes models that are out there are you can't find. Like they're producing a lot of the popular things over and over again because that's what people want. But you want those, the less popular discs, the things that that aren't the EMAC Truth, say like a Slammer,
Right.
or anything that's not if you're gonna use trilogy, not a Judge or a Warden as far as putters go. You want a West Side putter that's not a Harp. Good luck. It's really difficult. Those things, they come out and with the short run or whatever they have, and then they're gone. And you don't see them again for 4 months because it's out of the rotation or whatever. Because it's just, even when they do produce them, it's not quite as popular. It won't fly off the shelves. It doesn't have the name. No pro is throwing it. That's a big thing. It used to, pros throwing the disc would move the disc a bit. Now, if they're on YouTube, damn.
Really?
Ripped Revenge is a perfect example, and it's not a disc, but it's a game.
Yep.
The company, I think, went out of business because people enjoyed it or whatever, but it wasn't a big thing. And then Brody and Paul played it once. That game, all of a sudden, it's $30 a pack now. They could have held on for like 6 more months.
Right.
Because now, and it happens. People come in all the time and still looking for this because they found the. I'm like, oh yeah, you watched that Brody video? No, it just came out. I'm like, what's the timestamp on the video? And they look at it like 9 months ago. I was like, yeah, I wish we could get them. Just to not just to make money. Just because it's a fun game.
Yeah.
It's sad the company couldn't hold on. Because there's a market for it.
Stuff like that was part of the inspiration behind stuff like Voodoo Dubs.
Absolutely. Yep. There was another game years ago my buddy bought, and I still have it. It's called Snap Spin. It's a lot simpler version, a lot less harsh. But it has like 6 different colors, and everyone puts one disc in there of each color. So it's just 6 discs total, and one a white one, whatever it is, and they all have different powers. And you before every hole, you flick your thing, and in order, whatever, and you if you hit on white, you get the white disc. And like the white one, I believe was like immune to anything, so you couldn't be touched. But it was also probably the shittiest disc. So they can't mess with you, but you're not getting a fun disc to throw. Like sometimes it'd be like a Discraft Flick, which seems cool, but then you got to putt with that monster because that's the only disc you can use on that hole.
Ah, I gotcha.
So yeah, the ones with like the most power has the shitty, the hardest disc to play a hole with, really. So yeah, it was a really fun, simple but hard. Like it's still an evil type game as far as like messing with each other on your throws, like rethrow or move the disc 30 feet in another direction afterwards, so you can move them to right behind a tree 30 feet from where you're at and try and tee off. It was crazy little things like that, and that thing went away real quick, which sucked because it was really cool. And I think those things would actually do really well now again. I wish they could bring something like that back.
They're coming out with other cool games, like they got that disc dice game. Have you seen that?
I have not.
Yeah, it's like two big dice, and they have I forget exactly how it works, but you roll the dice, and it like there's different effects.
I need to look that up.
Yeah, seems fun.
And a lot of things too, when they come through, they don't they don't have a retail. They don't do wholesale pricing for us, so it's hard for us to get some things. Some things we'll buy retail and mark it up a little bit just so we can provide that product for somebody.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's happened a couple times with some of the discs.
Yeah.
They come in, they're like, oh, why is it so expensive? I'm like, I paid the same price you did. And they're like, yeah, it's $5 more on that side. I'm like, that's all we're making.
Yeah.
I was like, 'cause I paid $22 for it.
Yeah, net.
Yeah. I was like, we're just trying not to lose money on it, but we're trying to provide you that disc, and then, just still provide a service for people that come in and want to feel the disc, see if it's something they actually want.
Sure.
Along with it.
Yeah, that's got to be tough too, because the discs a lot of people really want the most are like the tour series discs, like
right.
Yeah, and then those you don't get any kind of a break being a retailer. You know what I mean?
Not much.
Like,
Some not at all.
Yeah, so you almost don't want to get them, but people want them. You're hoping that'll
absolutely.
bring them in the store and they'll buy some other shit. So
yeah, just so we can provide stuff for them. And the thing is too, people have winnings. Can still get them with their winnings
right.
from either the bag tag or from our tournaments.
True.
So yeah, they'll still be able to get them and everything else, and and come back for other stuff. But yeah,
awesome. Well, man, thank you for making the drive across town.
Absolutely.
To be on the show, this has been
thanks
fun.
for having me.
Yeah, this has been a lot of fun.
I enjoyed it.
I've always got a short list of people that are moving and shaking and doing stuff in disc golf in the Nashville area, and we were supposed to have somebody else on tonight, and they dropped out, and I was like, let's have Justin on. let's see if he'll do it.
I figured I was a backup.
Well, no, I mean, you've been on the list. Like, I've got a list of
list,
people that
yeah.
we're going to get on the
Right.
show. And so it's like every time somebody does bail out on us, then it's like that's the first place I go to is that list. And then eventually I'm just pulling people off of it just to schedule them. But we usually stay like booked out like 2-3 weeks.
Oh, I joke, but yeah, no, I'm honored to be on it.
Yeah, but dude, it's been a pleasure. And thank you so much for playing it at the store. That's probably the biggest exposure we got right now.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it,
that.
man.
Oh, yeah,
and thanks for
absolutely.
watching. And
Yeah.
I'm glad you enjoy it, man. I'm glad
Justin's
there's
gonna
people.
give us a tip, isn't he?
Oh yeah, we don't want to forget.
Oh
about
yeah, we got to get a tip of
just
the week.
tip.
Ah.
Just tip.
Just the tip with Justin Martineau.
Pineapple. Pineapple.
What you got, Marcus? Oh, you give him the spiel so he knows what he's doing.
Oh yeah, okay. So
I thought he watched every episode.
I know,
I
right?
do, but I was waiting
he
for- I
knows.
was waiting for the spiel.
it's,
He knows.
it's
Okay.
not the
Hit the
same if you
spiel.
don't get the,
Yeah.
the
Oh
setup.
man, okay, all right. Let's go back from the top. Yeah, Justin, coming from all the, knowledge and working at the store and all the things, what one tip would you give any disc golfer? It doesn't necessarily have to be form related. It can be something like showing up on time. It can be something like stretching before the round. So what tip do you give all these new golfers out there?
That's a
One
man,
tip.
That's a fantastic question. If I wish I'd have thought about that before, to be honest with you, because I'd have a tournament related one now. Because I have so many pet peeves with running tournaments, but
Yeah.
I honestly can't think of one in particular right now. But the biggest thing when people just start playing is just throw a straight mid range. Forget the putter, forget the drivers, definitely forget the drivers, and just throw a straight mid range. Whatever neutral mid range you can find or whatever. You will be so much better at the game than so many other people. Like all your friends, you may not throw as far, but while they're throwing 50 feet farther and digging through the woods, you're 50 feet less and throwing that nice little up shot right up there. And you may not beat them every hole, but you're going to beat them in the end almost every time for a while.
Yeah, that's true, man. I'm surprised how many people that are like super active or have been around for a long time in disc golf don't carry many mids.
Yeah, it's all
You know,
putters and drivers.
Putters and drivers, yeah,
And
fairways.
I carry almost 90% mids.
I'm mid heavy too, man. I love them. I mean, I've got mids that do all sorts of different things.
My form is so poor, I throw a mid about 30 feet less than a driver.
If you
not
were
good.
If you were a crayon, what color would you be?
Black or white.
There's a color called black or white,
Either one of those two.
named after
gray.
the Michael Jackson
No,
song.
I'm colorblind as all get out, so
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah, all the colors
You
suck.
probably told me that before.
So yeah,
So all colors.
colors suck.
You,
So,
put
yeah.
you put your left shoe on first, or your right?
I probably switch. I honestly don't think. Maybe left. Yeah, probably left. I guess
Yep. Okay.
if I had to really think about that.
Right-handed.
Yeah, I am right-handed.
Yep. That's been
Very
that's been
nice.
common.
Very
I can
That's
see
been
that.
common.
I never thought about that.
Keeps coming up.
Yeah.
Jay.
Interesting.
I go with the same one every time. Gooey center or the crusty edge. Brownies, bro.
On the brownies. I
Edge.
got brownies downstairs too, so it's pretty funny you said that.
Yeah, I'm an edge guy.
Edge guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to have something to hold on to.
That's right.
But pizza, I go the middle. I can't
Like
eat
you
the
have
crust
square
first.
pizza?
I'm
Not
not
even
that
when
kinda
it's
guy.
stuffed crust.
Nope. I actually don't like stuffed crust. It's too soft. I like the crispy crust.
Okay.
Do you like stuff that has like crust that has like seasoning on it? Remember Domino's instant
Ooh.
flavored
Ooh,
crust?
Yeah, Hungry
yes.
Howie's Cajun crust.
Dude,
Cajun
Jets
crust.
has like flavored crust, and they have that
The
deep
garlic crust
Detroit
on-
style.
Okay,
I
we're
get
talking
the
about this.
garlic
I'm
crust
hungry.
on the deep dish.
There you go.
I love me some. I'm from
So
Detroit,
hungry.
so I love me some Jets.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
You're from
of course,
Detroit.
Little Caesar and Domino's also from Detroit.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
Yeah.
Did
Y'all
not
have,
know that either.
anybody here in this room heard of
Pizza,
Mazzio's pizza?
Nah, homie. If it ain't Papa Murphy's, it ain't nothing.
Well, no, it was
Never
an
had a
Arkansas
Papa
chain.
Murphy's.
It was
You never
called
had a Papa
Mazzio's,
Murphy's?
and
It
was
seemed
really
like
good.
why should I have to do the work? Why should I pay $15 and do all the work?
They did the work, bro.
Papa Murphy's is terrible. It's overrated.
Damn.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll say this for my family.
Uh-huh.
I love you, Mom. I love you, Steve, my stepdad. When we would get pizza on Friday nights or something like that, it was never get to go order Pizza Hut. Never get to get the Papa John's.
Yeah.
Papa Murphy's. And I'm like, man,
And then you
it's not
get
real.
it, and then,
It's
No
not real
wonder you hate
pizza.
it.
and then you got to wait 20 more minutes once you get home.
Yeah.
Because you got to cook it.
You got to heat up that oven
as
and
far
then
as
heat
flavor
it.
and taste goes, it's not that bad. But
You gotta
it is
think
not
ahead.
the same as run through a pizza oven.
Papa Murphy's about thinking ahead, man. Oh man, I got pizza. Papa Murphy's, yeah.
Man, y'all ain't ever lived until there's a couple places in Albuquerque,
Tostinos.
in New Mexico.
Goodness.
There's a chain place called Dion's that's just super dope. But there's this one location restaurant called Saggio's in Albuquerque. It's on Central Avenue, right across from UNM.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, you order like a slice. It's that long, like that, and if you get sausage on it, they'll hold up like a link of sausage and cut it like that with a knife, so you get these pieces of sausage on there that are like
Damn.
Like
diagonally
a
cut
gyro?
like that big. Dude, it's
They cut like the Euro meat.
their dining area has like in the middle of it. It has like these columns with water pouring down in the middle and like ivy hanging
Yeah.
down. And there's murals all over the wall.
I know they
Yeah,
say
you
Euro
fancy.
meat's
A
lamb.
pizza place with that?
I've never
Yeah.
seen a lamb look like
Saggio's.
that. But
I know.
it's so
That's
good.
like a sushi style ambiance.
Oh, it is so cool. So
Yeah.
cool.
That's really
And of
neat.
course, they got like a sports bar section where you can watch TV.
All right, I need to go eat.
In college in Gainesville, there was a pizza place with the most ridiculous pizza. Cheapest, most, like, it's very college oriented. And there was one, back when I ate meat, they called the Pepperoni Powerhouse. It was like $5.60 for this pizza, 16-inch pizza. And I think they were just fucking with people. It had extra cheese on it, which of course, but then they had to grab like 2 handfuls of pepperoni and just throw them on there. Because it wasn't like any kind of thing. Sometimes you bite into what looked like one pepperoni. There's like
7 of 'em.
15 of them underneath.
Underneath it.
You'd eat one piece and you're just like, fuck. I mean, you had to have like 5 people to eat a pizza of this thing. And it was so cheap. And it was, fairly decent, but it wasn't very good, but it was decent.
Yeah, sure.
And
It's like little Caesars.
heartburn waiting to happen, but yeah.
Heartburn, man. Whew.
So worth it.
Yeah, it is.
Only in a college town.
Yeah.
Yep, sure.
It's like that. Every once in a while, being a Nashvilleian, you make that call to go have hot chicken, but when you get that call to go to the bathroom later that night, you're going to be leaning forward real far. But it's the trade-off you make.
It was ironically
true.
called
It is
5-star
very true.
pizza.
There you go. Okay.
5-star.
Not a 5-star quality, but 5-star value, though, I will
1
say.
star. You get 1 star.
Yeah. I think we should end it there.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Justin, thanks for coming out.
Absolutely.
We'll have
Thanks
you
for
on
having me.
again sometime soon.
Gesundheit.
Gesundheit. God bless, and good evening.
See you guys.
Let the bass kick.